started with Super Mario Bros. 35, which I haven't played in a little while. And I normally would be in so much of a rush to play it so frequently, but the game's only going to be out till March. I want to enjoy it while I can. Nintendo may change their plans at the last second and announce, just kidding, it's going to be permanent or whatever they decide to do. Who knows? The only thing you can count on with Nintendo is that they're always guaranteed to give you what you asked for while failing to give you what you actually wanted. They're kind of like a cruel, ironic genie in a certain sense. But we're gonna play this for an hour, and then as you saw on my hold screen, I will also let's be liberal, give it 65 minutes and get started. That's not 4 minutes left. That's actually I might as well just set it for 60. Because when I set it for 64, the way I did my layout, it's not meant to show more than an hour of time at once. So I made it look like I'm gonna be playing for like only a couple more minutes. Alright. My audio should be balanced alright. There we go. And I've got now in front of me is my monitor as well as the other. I'm using 2 computers, 3 monitors, and a Nintendo Switch right now. And there's another computer on my desk I'm not even using for this. But what's going on is I have another computer on my desk I normally don't have on the table while I'm streaming. I'm going to be using the HDMI on that to play Helious later. And Helios is one of those games I've been interested in playing on stream since the very beginning. And okay, I gotta get used to these controls again because this is using Y and B instead of A and B, which is more like what I'm used to. Because I usually play this on a Super Nintendo controller. I mean, on a regular NES controller where there's only A and B, whereas the Switch Pro controller that I'm using here has the full XABY button layout. And on 4-button controllers, Nintendo usually maps run and jump to Y and B instead of to B and A. Alright. Now, I only got a perfect game once. And I want to get at least one more perfect game on this early set of levels before I move on to the other selections that are available. Hold on. There we go. Yeah, I have to get back into the rhythm of this because I'm sure I'm playing with a bunch of people who have been playing this as this one game as their hobby and are really good at it. But at the same time, a game like this could also have a lot of novices. I mean, half the people are already gone, just about. And that's sort of the appeal of this game, is that, like, Battle Royale, it's fun! The idea of seeing, like, who's gonna be left, it's a fun... I can totally understand why it's so successful lately, and why it's been so addictive. But a lot of the games that use that sort of layout, or that format, are games that... I mean, Tetris 99 was cool, but I don't know, I guess it wasn't quite enough to get me to bite the bullet and get a Nintendo Switch Online subscription. Whereas this game here is actually specifically what got me to get a Switch Online subscription. Now, there we go. Yeah, so in about an hour, I'll be switching over to Helios, which is a DOS game I've been playing for well over 20 years now. And until just a few years ago, my own website at STSH.com was one of the only web results you can get on, like, if you try to type in Helios DOS game, my own website was one of the only results you can get for this title. Until a few years ago, a YouTuber with a bit of a following made a video about it. And what's interesting about Helios, on its own, it's just an abstract maze game where you sort of move a balloon through a maze. There are no identifiable real creatures or characters. There I go. It's just a bunch of sort of cryptic objects and cryptic symbols you're trying to collect, and even the title screen is very cryptic. If you don't know what you're trying to do with it, I mean, even the level select screen is cryptic. And there's what really makes, I think, why this game has a cult following now, is that this is, Helios can be said to be one of the first ever creepypasta games, where you had a certain number of people, well, this can be said to be one of the first creepypasta games in the sense that there was a story included with the game, and this was back in the early 90s, so it would have been posted on boards. But how I got mine was a lot of times these games would just get copied from between floppy disks and traded around. Now these were shareware games, and what a lot of developers would do back then is they would make a game and have a good, decent chunk of it, to the point where it could be considered a complete game, be available as shareware. So you're allowed to copy the disc or upload it to boards on the early internet, but then there was a second part of the game or a sequel or something like that. And for those parts, you were supposed to mail a check to the developer or the company, and then they would mail you back a floppy disk with your registered copy of the game. It would usually come with either the sequel or full version of the game, and then a bunch of maybe some extras, like some different variations or some secret codes for the first game or something like that. Try to make it worth your money. So, there's that infamous don't copy that floppy, but copying floppy disk was a legitimate way that a lot of software was intended to be developed in order to promote the paid versions, which often weren't in stores. You often had to actually mail a check or a money order or something to the developer. And, hold on. There we go. And Helios was one of those games, and it came with a story about, like, I mean, by today's standards, it's off, like, Helios is mentioned in, like, creepypasta wiki sites and stuff like that, but there was no notion of a creepypasta back then. It was just, like, the story of the game, and it was this story, this sort of fourth wall breaking story, and that supposedly this game originated from, it appeared on Sean Puckett, the programmer's computer during a close encounter with aliens. And so there's this little story, like, explaining that, and it sort of gives context to the cryptic and abstract nature of the game. And I thought that was, and there is an end to the game. It's a rather difficult game. And that mysterious backstory kind of makes it so that you don't know what's going to happen when you beat the end. Is there going to be some new context or something about the aliens, or you're going to find out what the true purpose of the game is in that sense? But I think maybe, like, recently this kind of got discovered by the creepypasta community, and I think a lot of people maybe take it a little too seriously. Now, what added to the mystique of the game and its lore is that for a long time, no one was able to contact Sean Puckett or find any current information. There's an address and contact information included with the game, but it's for an address in Florida that he hasn't lived at in 20 years, and it wasn't the easiest. It wasn't easy to get in contact with him. Now, lots of versions of the creepypasta that's going around about this. Most of the creepypasta is just the game's story verbatim, as in the game's, instruction screen. But there are some bits of added lore which aren't necessarily true, like that no one's ever been able to contact this guy, and that's not true. We've found him. He's on Twitter. His name is PhotoPuck on Twitter. I tweeted at him a few years ago. And, but I think maybe some of these sites, I think, are taking the lore a little too seriously, like trying to solve an actual mystery. But, so some of the what added to the lore was that there was a second half of Helios called Helios 2, and because Helios 2 was not shareware, it was a game you had to send Sean Puckett a check back in the early 90s to get, and it wasn't really widely distributed because oftentimes people really did respect those license files. Like it was harder to run across a non-shareware floppy game, you know, as opposed, you know, when trading floppy disks as opposed to actual legitimate shareware that was intended to be distributed that way. So Helios 2 was kind of scarce. At one point it was on Sean Puckett's website, but then the website, the files weren't, for a while it just wasn't available. And so the idea that the game's ending is very cryptic and sort of creepy, like genuinely slightly unsettling. Not severely so, it's just a little like, ooh, what does it mean? It's creepy, look, oh, there's a... You know, what's behind you? Like, it kind of makes... You can raise the hair on the back of your neck. It's not going to traumatize you or anything. But, oh no. Doggone. Had to use my... Hey, how about that? Yeah, it's not going to genuinely traumatize you or anything. But... Oh, come on. Come on. I just want it... Yeah, baby. Now we're back in business. Yeah, it's not gonna actually traumatize you or anything, but it does make you wonder, like, well, okay, if that's the end of Helios 1, then what's at the end of Helios 2, right? But no one can find Helios 2, and then once they found it, well, apparently, according to the Helios 2's own instruction sheet, there's no end screen to Helios 2, it's just about the challenge itself, I guess. Man, I really wish I could have held off a bit longer without getting taken out by Bowser there. But I'm in the top 10, which... Well, I'm in 10th place right now? Well, if I die now, I'd be in 10th place. But, and of course, the thing is, the further you get... Yeah, the further along you get, the more likely it is that the players still, that are playing are gonna be more talented. Hey, I was hoping for a fire flower, but this will... Oh no. If I could have made it a little bit further. Oh no! Okay, I made it to 8th place. I'm a level... Yeah, I made it to 8th place. Not bad. So let's see if we can get at least one perfect game. Now, what's that? Is that countdown like? If it gets to 0 before that countdown gets to 0, does it just launch the game without giving? All right, here we go. And we're in business. I almost missed the mushroom there. Jeez. Now. Wow, I already got... Nice time boost there. I just want to get as many coins as I can. You know what, I think that's... I mean, obviously you want to get as many good collectibles in general as you can, but... Of course, the more mushrooms I get, the more... There we go. Hey! How often do I make it all the way to the flagpole in that stage? Well, I can say that, but I don't play Super Mario Brothers that much anyway. So, okay, there we go. Man, I'm getting a lot of coins, and more coins means more times I could use the slot machine. Because the slot machine is what... If it wasn't for the slot machine, there's no way I can make it as far as I have in these stages. Now... Wow, there's still 25 people left. Wow. Okay. Now... And... We... Oh... 5, 6, 7, 8, 9... Okay. And boom. Just keep adding to that. And we're... Yeah, I really don't want to use... I mean, I could always go for an invincibility block, but I kind of don't want to do that until I actually take a hit and I'm Small Mario again. Wow, this is a lot further along. I've never beaten... I don't think I've even encountered this stage before. Yeah, I've never even encountered this stage before. Oh no. I was specifically trying to see what would happen if I managed to collect more than 100 coins, if I get some kind of special... Oh, shucks. If I got some kind of special benefit. Oh man, I'm going through a lot of... I don't like... Man! Just a few bad rolls, and I'm already... Like, and all my mushrooms are gone pretty much. I mean, I only have one... Oh no. Alright. I mean, I had like... You saw me waste like several different rolls before I got something decent there. Which was very frustrating. 29, 30... I'm gonna use it here. And the mushroom, which is useless to me right now. 15, 18, 19... Oh, doggone. Yeah, I'm not in a good... Oh, and I was gonna say, I'm not in a good place right now, and then I missed the doggone jump, so... Hey, well, got a new icon, not that I care about that much. I mean, it is one of the only real pieces of... I guess, customization you have in this. No, 3. Yeah, like, I guess if it counts ticks down to 0, it just launches you into the game without, without the full 35 players. Because that's the only thing that can make sense to me. Alright. And there we go. And plus, I mean, I do... If I get a perfect game in this, I will move on to a different level set. But there's something about this that just feels so right. Because, like, this is... Well... To be honest, I mean, I'm not that great at Super Mario Brothers. I've never beaten the NES version before. I have beaten the Super Nintendo version, but that version effectively gives you infinite continues, so I'm not counting that for the purposes of, like, skill. I mean, I had as many tries as I needed before I could, you know, as many tries as it took. But as far, there is the NES version. Like, there are times I've gotten pretty good at it, like, while grinding it and everything, but it's a tough game. I don't know, I guess people who have gotten good at it and have just been beating it whenever they feel like it, pretty much. Like the way I could beat Sonic the Hedgehog on Game Gear and Master System. Like, the people who could play that, they basically... I basically beat that whenever I want. Every time I play that game, I do beat it. Now, I'm gonna continue on the tradition I started of beating that game. Woo! Yeah, beating that game, playing through it at the beginning of each month. I meant to start it in September, but I kind of forgot. So I started it at the beginning of this month. And then, at the start of next month, I'm gonna play through it again. I mean, it's the only times I've really had to break out my, the Mega SG. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that was fun. Oh, shucks, that was not fun. Come on, roulette. Do me a good one. Okay, not quite. But at least I didn't die. Because I could have... I mean, I was being kind of reckless with the, Yeah, I was being reckless with my progress while I still had the Starman. Wow, this is the first time I've gotten this level all day, which is kind of odd. Because this is level 3, I think, of Super... Yeah, this is World 1-3. So it's a level that if we were going in game order, I would be getting rather frequently. Now, I wonder if they specifically choose, like, okay, if we get a red Paracupa, we're gonna put him right here. And, like, different spots where it would make sense in terms of game design to have one. Ooh! Yeah, we got him. And we... Oh, yeah, I was all lined up for him to fall, and then I forgot red Koopas walk back and forth. They don't fall off of, Almost got that cheap there. No, it's... No, I was gonna say, like, are we actually going to get to go to the castle or not? Now, this is kind of tough, because for... Alright. That didn't work out. You can see what I was trying to do, probably. I was trying to see if I could actually take him out before the ricochet of the shell damaged Mario and demoted him. I say demoted it. Oh my gosh. I thought I did that. I should have waited. If I had waited like a few frames later, I would have did what I intended to do and actually took out both of those enemies at once. Yay, got 20 coins. Okay. I mean, at least it's a few more seconds on the clock, not that this is a level that's ever been a serious time crunch for me. But what I was hoping for was a Fire Flower, either Invincibility or a Fire Flower. I mean, and honestly, I'd rather have Invincibility after I've already got the Fire Flower. Hey, we're back in 1-1 with a... Okay, it's not often you... yeah, it's the first time I ever had a Piranha Plant spawn on top of a mushroom block. So I wasn't quite sure. I mean, obviously all these different scenarios, and same with Mario Maker, they had to figure out ways to make sure that none of these things, these elements would break the game or clash with each other. Because there's just so many different things that they have to consider that would happen, that would normally never happen in actual Super Mario Brothers. Okay, that was lame. I was just trying to get the ricochet, because if I had gotten the mushroom to go to the right... Oh! I was like a frame away from collecting the Starman. Oh well. Alright. Hey, 9th place. The second best match of so far today. Not bad. Okay, let's try again. I really do want. Now, while... Wait a second. actually live. I'm not even sure if I'm actually live, which is a weird thing. I've never had this problem before. Yeah, am I actually live? That's a good question. That I probably should have double checked before I went live, or before I started acting at a camera, assuming that I was available to watch. Let's see. I never had to check if I was live or not like this before. Alright, I'm live. Everything's fine. Alright. I guess my broadcast software was just being funky for a second. Because that would have been crazy if I was playing for the last, like, 30 minutes and running my mouth and I was not actually live. Alright. Let me grab a swig of water and recover from that. In a half hour, we'll switch over to Helios. Alright. What's like this? That's right. Okay. Now I'm just paranoid that anything I do may or may not be working properly. Here we go. And we're off. And yes, I was still able to actually collect the fire flower because, you know, when it's almost scrolled off of the screen, sometimes it just won't work anymore. And hey, murder time! Woohoo! Okay, I do need to get my coin count up so I could use the roulette if need be. I mean, having the fire flower and at least 20 coins is where I'd like to be at any given moment, because then I can attack enemies freely, and then if I need to use the roulette to try to get a power-up, I can do so without having to worry about trying to grab some more coins. Oh my gosh. Why am I so low on time right now? Like, I don't know what determines how much time I have. I need to keep killing enemies right now. It's like that there was a play game for the original PlayStation called 1, and basically you didn't have life. The only way you die is if you stopped killing enemies. It was an interesting idea. And because the idea was I think he had his arm replaced with a cannon, and it was powered by his rage, so he had to keep his rage up in order to not die or something. It's kind of like that action movie from a few years ago. When I say a few years, I mean the better part of a decade at this point. But hey, I've got Fire Mario. Oh my goodness, what is with these extremely brief time limits? Oh no, oh no, come on. Well, at least I got a couple of seconds on the clock for that. I'm probably gonna die from... Hey! I'm probably gonna die from running out of time, and not from enemies or obstacles. Oh my gosh, I didn't even know if I was gonna make it over that. Hey, 27. Wow, this level is not as... I mean, when you know you don't have much time, I guess the time just seems that much longer. Hey, come on. Yeah, there we go. That's another 15 seconds. I need to grab fire flowers in this, because every time I grab a fire flower, that's another 15 seconds. I mean, if killing an enemy gave me a couple of seconds, okay, fine. I mean, fire flowers give me 15. That's the only reason I'm still in the game, is from collecting those fire flowers. But, okay. Now, that will save time by letting me just plow through. Wow, why do I have so many coins? What did I do to get this many coins? Why do I have, like, nearly 200 coins? I don't know what I did. I really don't know what I did there. Yeah, if I play carefully, I'm in the top, I'm gonna be in the top 11 right now. Look at that weird spawn point. Look, I have tons of coin. Why do I now have tons of lives? I don't know why. What determines how much time I have in this game? Hey. Oh, I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that the slot machine stops automatically. That was a loser. Come on. Wow, I have less than 100 coins. I'm actually under 100 coins. It's weird getting used to having nearly 200 coins, or even more at some points if I wasn't fully paying attention. But I don't need to use them. Hey, I'm nearly up to 100. Oh wow, this is the first or second time I've gotten an underwater stage, and I want to get out of here as soon as possible because these stages can be really tough. Yeah, that's what I was hoping for. That's why I was rolling the roulette, because I wanted to get invincibility. And Cheeps can be really tough enemies to have in a non-water stage. So I feel good having sent a couple of those to other people's games. But I'm going to be in 8th place. If one more person gets out, then I will be at my best point, at the furthest I've ever been in the game, and today at least. Because I haven't played this in a couple of weeks, I don't think. Yeah, I think... Oh no! Wasn't fast enough. Doggone. Alright. Yeah, that guy there in the underwater level, he is sending me all these enemies from the underwater stage that I don't want in my game. Now, I'm glad that they were... Oh wow, this is the best I've done so far. We are in actual perfect game territory right now, potentially. Now, I'm just glad that the bloopers actually take damage from POW blocks, even though they're technically not touching the ground. It just works for all enemies on screen now. Oh, okay. I'm just glad that didn't... Hey. Gonna be in 6th place if I win. Now, if I had waited a second, I would have got a fire flower anyway. I was... just kind of wanted the extra time just in case now I have the liberty to spend a lot of time on this relatively non-threatening stage, but as I go along, there's going to be more of a threat that I could end up getting Bowser's or something crazy like that. And I am relatively low on coins, so okay, here we go. Yay. And the killing enemies, I mean, it's gonna affect as much, only up to 5 other people right now instead of 35 others, or whoever is a more typical number, based on where I'm playing. Hey. $20, $30, $40, I just want to get up to 60. And, whoa, okay, there we go. That was scary for a second, but yeah, I just want to know how many times the enemies I kill that are from other people. Wow, there are a lot. They're cheeps coming up. They're cheeps coming up. That's good. Okay. Yeah, I rolled good on that. That's the best use, most lucky use of a power block I've ever gotten. I just got a lot of enemies with that, and a very tight cluster of cheeps, which would have been very difficult to get past without losing. There we go. Wow, I'm in the top 4. I'm in the top 5 right now, which is awesome. Now, oh no. Man, the cheeps in this stage. Tough business. They're no joke. They are dangerous. Especially in addition to... Oh my gosh. Yeah, there's no way I could make that... Okay. No! Wow, that would have been useless, but because I got powered down right there... Oh, please. Let's see if I could survive this stage. No! I'm in the top 3. That was fun. Okay. Alright. Wow, I can't believe yeah. I mean, it feels like this last, 40 minutes almost is gone in, like, a flash. But, oh, I guess I might as... I guess man, that was so... I'll play this one more time, and then we'll move on to other stage packs, because that was as close to first place as I'm probably going to get today, at least. But we'll see what happens. But in another 22 minutes, I'm going to take a little break and switch to Helios. And we're off, and... Oh my gosh. Someone's already out. I mean, people are out that fast. I'm sure, I mean, there's no way everyone else is streaming. Yeah, that's another interesting question. I wonder how many people that are playing this aside from me are streaming. Probably the vast minority, and the overwhelming minority of people broadcasting the game, I'm sure. But I know if it wasn't for the combination of, yeah, if I wasn't streaming, I probably wouldn't. I might have tried this game, but I probably wouldn't be as into it as I am. I mean, and you can see how into it I am, and I've only played it like a couple of times this month. Yay. Nice. Because this came out early or midway through September? It seems like the enemies aren't actually added to the field until I get, yeah, it seems like they're... Yeah, it seems like the enemies that are sent to my game don't get added to the... you know what? I think I just made a post on Twitter and Tumblr saying that I'd be posting on... that I'd be, doing this on Friday. I've been playing Super Mario Brothers, I've been playing Super Mario, 35, as you can see. Last game, I actually got up to 35, which was pretty fun. But then, I actually got up to 3rd place out of 35, which is the closest I've gotten, in a long time. But this is the first time in a couple of weeks I've been playing it. Yeah, I haven't been streaming as much as I used to, but I'm getting back into the groove of doing it more frequently. I might have to do it without... Sometimes I might have to do it without making the nice little... it's almost halfway, not so bad, but... in another 19 minutes and 46 seconds, I'll be playing Helios, which you heard me mention it before, but I finally got everything set up so I could stream this. Helios is the DOS game from 1993 that is basically, as I understand, the earliest game that has creepypasta-style lore associated with it. Yeah, I was doing, well, with the pinball streams, yeah, sorry about that. One thing I was doing is I was just sort of getting a feel for what it was like to do, unscheduled, spur-of-the-moment streams. Which is something I was reluctant to do, and plus, I was having different problems with, comfort and safety in terms of my sitting here, where I'd be only playing for like maybe a half hour and have weird symptoms where I can't feel my tongue or something like that, as though I've been sitting down for like 8 hours straight without getting up. Yeah, hey, you noticed, even with my, my 720p webcam, yeah, for the first time ever, I buzzed my mustache. My chin, and I don't actually shave, I kind of cheat, I just use a hair buzzer, and just, I buzz my chin, you know, from time to time, and I really don't like having, like, I really don't like, because it's like my face is determined to give me all of the, wow, look at how much little time I have, what is this? I was about to die anyway. Usually, I don't know what determines how much time I have. Yeah, usually, like, my face is determined to give me all the disadvantages of having chin hair, but none of the benefits of having an actual beard. So it was just really frustrating. I'm like, alright, I'm sick of this. And for the first time in my life, I actually buzzed my mustache, which is not something I've done since I first grown it. You know, I trimmed it so it's not, like, growing into my mouth or anything crazy like that, but I never buzzed my mustache before. My mustache really kind of snuck up on me. I was well into my 20s, and someone was like, oh, you have a nice mustache. I'm like, I don't have a mustache. Men have mustaches. And I was like, oh, shoot, I have a mustache. It didn't even kind of snuck up on me. Because on my mom's side, I know, I know I mentioned this before, my grandfather on my mother's side, and he grew up in the early 20th century when having a mustache was very popular, and he was an entertainer. But he actually penciled in his mustache his entire life. So all that hair is probably more from my dad's side. All that facial hair. But, yeah, it doesn't... I was kind of afraid... Yeah, and it's funny because people were thinking I'm, like, fresh out of high school even with the mustache. So, I'm like, I can only imagine what people would think now that I buzzed my mustache, but of course, I'm wearing a mask, most of the time anyway, when I'm out in the wild, so, it doesn't matter so much. I know it does make my, yeah, so, it is what it is, I buzzed my mustache. Yeah, I actually, and I feel like I'm cheating even saying shaven, because I've never shaved before. I'm sure if I actually properly shaved with a legit razor, I'd, like, put myself in the emergency room somehow. I actually just use a buzzer and just buzz my... Because, like, I don't know if you saw when I was telling Kalakaboy when he noticed. Basically, my chin is determined to give me all of the disadvantages of having chin hair, but none of the benefits of having a beard, so I just got sick of it and buzzed it. Because it probably looks decent on camera, because it's only a 720p webcam. But when... but in terms of, like, the feel and the look of it, it just looks like I haven't been taking care of myself. It won't give me a beard that I can actually maintain and groom properly. But it grows enough hair that it, like I said, there's all the disadvantages of having chin hair with none of the benefits of having a beard. But I did have a proper full-blown mustache and it kind of snuck up on me, and it was kind of weird, because it was like my mid-20s. It wasn't like, oh, I'm turning 17, 18, 19, here comes the facial hair. All of a sudden, yeah, like, I don't even get a 5 o'clock shadow. I just, like, get random hairs that just sort of appear just slow enough that I don't take notice of it until it's, like, there's enough that it annoys me. So, oh, I can't, yeah, I'm already not in the running anymore, because I missed that first mushroom. Oh, you do have a beard, that's pretty cool. Yeah, so I just went ahead and buzzed it, and I was kind of ambivalent to my mustache. It's like, I don't mind it like I do the chin hair that I would like to wish was a beard. Like, I mean, I like not having any hair other than what's on my head anyway. But I was really ambivalent towards my mustache, but I was like, and I didn't care about it, but I was afraid to buzz it off, because I'm like, what if this looks dumb? Because I don't know how long it's going to take to grow it back, because I never actually fully chopped it off before. So I was like, alright, I'm just gonna go ahead and buzz it and see how I feel, how it looks. And plus, like I was saying, like, if I buzz it now, when I'm out in the wild, not that I'm so self-conscious over my appearance anyway, but if it looks dumb, I'm wearing a mask anyway, so I might as well do it. Leverage whatever benefits I can out of the state of the world at the moment. Yeah. Yeah, so thanks for showing up. For those who didn't see, can an alter ego grow a beard? Basically, they just kind of have the hair on their head, which possibly came about more so due to, you know, living and breeding amongst humans for so long, so they do have, like, human-like hair on their head, but they're mostly covered in fur. So they're just all, you know, just fur, except for, you know, his head, which is, you know, kind of like my own hair texture. Yeah, I'll be playing later on, and for those who didn't see, I'll be playing Helious later, which is one of the games I wanted to stream all along. Helios is a game I first encountered via trading floppy disks back in the 90s. It was a DOS release that I actually played on my old, like, IBM PS2 Value Point back in the day. And I first encountered this game by trading shareware floppy games with my friends, you know, in school. One summer they had a school computer club thing, and we were all trading. It was during the summertime, so we didn't have to do any real work. We just got together and played games and stuff, and wrote a few papers about viruses and stuff like that, but it was really mostly us playing games. And I encountered this game called Helios, which is a very cryptic and enigmatic maze game. When am I streaming Stinger? I'll have to stream... I don't know why I decided this just now, but I decided I'm going to stream Fantasy Zone first, or maybe I'll do a Q-'em-up themed streams, where I'll be streaming, like, you know, a session of Fantasy Zone and a session of Stinger. You know, I'll play the two, you know, quintessential Q-'em-ups side by side. Because I am pretty blind to both of them. I played the first stage of Fantasy Zone. I didn't even play far enough to get to the first boss.
And because I have both games, yeah, Helios, I've got, it is a, if you were to look this up, it would take you to a creepypasta page. Because until only a few years ago, my own website and a couple of other web pages were some of the only relevant search results for this game. And because this is what I think is interesting, why I chose to stream this in October, is that this is, as far as I'm aware, the earliest game that has creepypasta-style fourth-wall-breaking lore attached to it. And this lore came as a README file with the game itself. And it is a game... Now, when you see this game, it is a very cryptic and enigmatic maze game, I guess you could say, where you're piloting a balloon through this maze of indescribable objects and enemies. None of them resemble living things as we know them. And you're collecting these glyphs that are entered into the level select screen that form a code that unlocks the ending of the game. So if you know the glyphs that you collect through the stages, you could enter in you could immediately trigger the end screen of the game. But the game comes with a sort of what we would now call a creepypasta, where the creator of the game describes that the game appeared on his computer during a close encounter with alien visitors. And he doesn't know the purpose of the software. He doesn't even know if it's truly a game. He just knows it's this thing that is like a game. Might I stream on Halloween? Maybe. I don't know if I'll be... I haven't looked at my schedule, or I haven't even looked about building a schedule or making appointments or whatever to see if I'd be available or not on Halloween. I know everyone's going to be streaming. If I stream on Halloween, it would definitely be earlier in the day, something like, 2 o'clock. Because, I don't know, everyone's going to be streaming late night, and they're going to probably be streaming proper horror games. If I were to stream on Halloween, I'd probably stream something like Castlevania, which I'm very familiar with the Castlevania series. Most of my exposure to it is through James Rolfe's videos and retrospectives, but I've never played through any of the games myself. So if I were to stream a game, it would probably be Castlevania, maybe Helios and Castlevania, or something like that. And really, Helios had absolute minimal online material available for it. The page about the game on my own website at supertrainstationh.com. It's like at games.supertrainstationh.com. I do have a web page I made about it back in like 2007 or so. And it's weird how long ago 2007 is and isn't at the same time. But for a long time, my own webpage and the remains of Sean Puckett's own old website were some of the only mentions online of this game. But a YouTuber with some following to him, he made a video about the game and sort of highlighting the creepypasta aspects of it. And there's a lot of mystery around the game, because for a long time no one was able to contact him, because the only contact information about the game was outdated by like 20 years, because it was within the game itself. You could find the address that you were supposed to mail the creator a check in order to get the second half of the game, which he called Helios 2. And because there was so little coverage of the game online at the time, there's a little more now, but all it really covers is the creepypasta aspect of it. And the ending is also very cryptic and very mildly unsettling, potentially. And the ending does kind of tie into the lore of the game, but not in a way that's apparent or concrete. So it's kind of just a big enigma that the Sean Puckett, the creator, made. Just deliberately to have a sense of mystique about the game. And then the second half of the game is so hard that no one's been able to beat it, and through hacks and cheats, no one's been able to beat it. And people are questioning, programmers and hackers are questioning if there even is a... Oh man, he got to 6th place. They're questioning if there even is a win scenario programmed into the game at all.
which is very interesting. And for a long time, Helios 2 was not available online because Helios 1 was traded via floppy disk as shareware, whereas Helios 2, you had to mail Sean Puckett a check to the address that was in the game in order to have him send you a floppy with the with Helios 2 on it. And so there was a period where you couldn't even find the second half of the game online anywhere. Now it has resurfaced, and Sean Puckett has released Helios 2 as freeware. So I really wanted to give this game some coverage. As far as I'm aware, there's no gameplay of... Hey, Tundex, I was just talking about how I was going to be playing in another 5 minutes, actually. I'm going to be taking a 6 or 7 minute break to switch over to my other computer that I'll be running through my capture card that I have the game running on. I'll be playing Helios, which is basically the earliest ever that I'm aware of, the first ever game to have creepypasta fourth wall breaking lore attached to it. And this game came out in '93. Only in the last couple of years has there been any amount of online coverage of it aside from my own webpage, weirdly enough, that I made back in 2006 or 7. But the there's basically a README attached to the game that explains that the game appeared on the creator's hard drive after aliens, after a close encounter with alien visitors to his house. Man, really early on in the game to be having such a tight time limit. I'm gonna have to look up online to find out what actually determines... I mean, each enemy I kill is one more fraction of a second added. So I'll be playing that in a few minutes, depending on how long this match goes for, at the end of this match or maybe the end of the next one. Because I don't think I'm gonna... I mean, matches can go on for quite a while. So we'll see. I'm probably gonna go ahead and call it, once I... You get more time for jumping on him, huh? Oh, wow, you get 2 seconds, 2 fractions of a second instead of 1 fraction of a second. Alright. Hey, I'll take what I can... Oh, no! Oh, well. Yeah, so this next one's probably going to take us through the next 3 minutes to the break and the game switch. So I actually have been playing this game, I don't know, the only actual... I don't know if they're Greys, I don't know if it's... I don't know if they're from Zeta Reticuli. I don't know if they're from Andromeda. I don't know if they're the little guys from Space Invaders. But the only actual being he encounters is a clone of himself. I'm gonna read the story. I'm gonna read the story of the game when we switch to it, and that's how we're gonna start it off. Oh, you love the story of Daedalus and Icarus and Helios, all thanks to the original Deus Ex game, the AI characters with the same names. Yeah, it's cool how all this lore, some of the older stories that have survived to this day, have sort of found their way into, why do some games start off with such a low time limit, and then some games it starts off with a more typical seeming time limit? I'll never know. Okay. Hey. Now, yeah, and as far as I'm aware, I know a couple of streamers have played it. The only streamer I could find who has video existing of them playing it is Vinesauce. And the crazy thing is, Vinesauce finds it randomly, and you could actually see his raw reactions to the game, because I've been playing this game for like more than 22 years, right? But if you find this game and not knowing what it is the weirdest thing ever to come across, because it's very cryptic and really does seem like something that could have been made by aliens. But I think there's not much coverage of it as a game itself. It's more about the creepypasta aspect to it. So if you look up Helios DOS game, you could find like the creepypasta wiki entry for it. And like a proper myth, like, most of what's on the Creepypasta Wiki's entry for it is the actual, file that came with the game explaining the story. But certain things of it are kind of fabricated, like the idea that no one's been able to contact him. That's no longer true. Yeah, there's certain things that are embellished a bit to add more credence to it. And I think a lot of the coverage of it, and mind you, when I say there's more coverage, I mean there's like 3 or 4 results on Google instead of just 1 or 2. Another song you claim that great aliens came to our house, but your parents never believed them. I could, hey, when we're playing Helios, I could tell you some stories about. I've seen some things. I don't necessarily believe, or nor can I prove that it was an alien spaceship, but it's certainly an interesting story. And the interesting thing about it, to me, is that I basically have an entire airplane full of people, including the pilot and co-pilot, who also saw this and said that they don't know what it is. And I could actually probably pinpoint the exact date that it happened, because there's some interesting real-life events that were going on at the same time that I could easily Google to verify when this happened. Because it would have been in January 96, I guess, this would have happened. But I don't want to spoil the story, but once... Alright. If anyone is interested in seeing me play through the rest of this match, let me know. If not, I can go right ahead and we could get to the break period and get on to Helios. Woo! Look at him go! Oh man, it is so much fun to take out dozens of enemies in a matter of moments using invincibility. And then you get too into it and don't use the audio cues and end up taking some damage. Hey, and the funny thing is, hold on. Like, the solution to the game, people have beaten the game, but for some reason no one's posted the solution to the game, so I don't have the luxury. I couldn't just trigger the ending if I wanted to. Oh, cool. Yeah, unfortunately, this game, being a early 90s DOS game, it uses PC speaker audio, so I'm actually going to have to pick up the audio for the game. It's just little beeps and blips. I'm going to have to pick up the audio using my own microphone that I'm speaking into now. I did some tests. It works pretty alright. But, alright. When we get through the end of this stage... If I'm in the top 10 by the time I get through the end of this stage, I'll go ahead and keep playing. But that's probably not going to be the case, and I'm probably going to call this part of the stream at that point. Now, what's curious to me is that my broadcast software says I have 0 viewers right now. And normally, I know there's sometimes lag between what Streamlabs is doing and what the stream's doing. Or inaccuracies. Like, sometimes my user control panel on Twitch doesn't say all the people that are in chat, or doesn't account for all those people. Hey! I sent a Bowser to someone's game. But, oh wow. Because this is World, because I'm in World 1-4, which I have not gotten yet today, I'm going to go ahead... Hey, we got him. That could be really tough without... Yeah, because I got World 1-4, which I never got before, I am going to go ahead and finish off. Ah, I see. I did a few streams last week, and a lot of those were just pinball high score runs, because I was testing different ways of sitting and preparing my work area, and different ways of lighting to try to reduce stress and find an answer to the weird symptoms I've been getting. But it's under control now, seemingly. I'm determined to beat you because I'm so close. There we go. It's only one fireball away and the doggone butt. Oh, here comes there's another Bowser on the way. There we go. Now, I'm in the top 10, well, top 11 now. There are only 10 other players. So I'm going to go ahead and keep playing. I'm going to go ahead and see how far I can get. Yeah, because I was doing a lot of... And plus I was doing testing with doing spur-of-the-moment streams. And when I do spur-of-the-moment streams, I'm probably going to play maybe games that I don't feel that people would necessarily be as excited to play. So the people who really want to see something in particular that I announced a week before and everything could go to the scheduled streams. And then if I just want to do something like mess around in versus pinball and try to improve my global high score ranking, I can do that and have my fun. And if anyone's not interested, no, it's not a big deal. Hey, so I haven't announced my schedule for next week. Will I stream on Halloween? I don't know. They've just been interested in me streaming on Halloween. If I stream on Halloween, it'll probably be like Castlevania and Helios or something like that. Because well, first off, I need an excuse to actually get out my NES Classic Edition. Hey, I'm in the top 9. Let's see how far I can get. Yeah, I haven't used my NES... Oh, wait, actually, I don't need my NES Classic Edition because I have Nintendo Switch Online now! Which is not a bad problem to have, but... yeah, so... Now that I do... I never thought I'd have Switch Online. Certain aspects of my NES Classic are kind of redundant at the moment, but at least I do have a physical release of some of those games if I do ever let my subscription expire. Hey, okay. Like now, I have hundreds of seconds to play the game in. So what's the deal when I was starting that one match and I was already like under like 100 seconds? Like what is the deal with that? I need to find out what determines how much time there is to play in. If it's maybe it's of a certain number of players in the game or of a certain rank, they reduce the time for everyone. That's kind of unfair, but I can understand why maybe. Yeah, don't worry about missing my streams. I know you support me, and I drop in when I can for you. Because I don't know. I guess the fact of when you see someone playing games, and that's the only time you see them, I guess you can give an impression that they do have tons of leisure time, and that's usually not the case at all. Even for professional streamers. Because man, like I never really talked to a professional streamer about professional streaming, because I do know a couple, but I can imagine how wild it's got to be, you know, having to come up with creative new ways to, you know, incentivize interactions that make it financially viable for the person broadcasting. Oh man, I'm in the top 6. Hey, nice. Hey, that's just what I wanted. I mean, I'm targeting this one person. I'm not even trying to specifically target them. That just happens to be where my cursor is and what's going on in the game right now. Hey, Serial Wars, how you doing? As soon as this match is over, whether I win or lose, I'm gonna switch over to Helios, which is everyone else. If you're not familiar with it, it is basically the first or earliest creepypasta game that I'm aware of, in the sense that it is a 1993 DOS game I first encountered in the 90s via trading floppy disks with my friends at computer club in school. And it is a game that comes with lore describing that the game appeared on this person's computer during a close encounter with aliens. And as far as I'm aware, it's one of the earliest games that has sort of fourth wall breaking lore in the form of a story a text-based story attached to it. And for a long time, there was almost no coverage of the game online.
Yeah, keeping people engaged can be difficult. It's finding that balance between stuff your viewers are interested in, and then stuff that you yourself also care about doing. And really, like Helios, I mean, I'm not good at it. I never beat it. I'm not gonna beat it on stream. I mean, if I do, I'll be amazed. I mean, perhaps we could figure out. Oh my goodness, that is diabolical. Look at that. Come on. Oh, come on. He's not gonna... Oh, get out of my way, you freaking Hammer Brothers. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna lose it here. Oh, third place. Not bad. Alright. Not bad, but it's time to switch over to Helios, and I'll show you what that game is all about if you're unfamiliar with it. I could kind of put down my headphones at this point, theoretically, because Helios, the sound is via PC speaker, which my capture card, the output of how the PC speaker sound is processed, I'm actually going to be picking it up with my microphone I'm speaking with right now. So, I will be back. I'm going to switch things over first, then take my break. So, I'm going to... Where is my console switching? There we go. Real-time console change. Activate. Okay. Just gotta switch this wire from my switch. Okay, I gotta move the cable from... I gotta swap two different cables. You know, normally I only have to swap my one HDMI cable. Okay. Okay. No, I didn't do it right. Okay. No. This. Okay. That goes. I thought I rehearsed this well enough. This. Okay, here we go. Alright, this should do it. I got to appear on my second monitor. And I will be back in... Let's give it 7 minutes, which is 6 minutes for me, and 1 more minute to grab to get back to my computer. So I'll be back with. Well, actually, let me change the title and category so not Super Mario Bros. 35. There's a Helios category, but I honestly don't know if it's intended for this game. Helios is the kind of thing where I think if I followed it, like, the 3 or 4 people who care, I don't know, but I'm going to just stream it under Retro. Okay. Retro, okay. I don't know what I could possibly tag this under, so. Alright, I'm not going to tag it under anything. Okay. And. Alright, that's more like it. So I will be back, and thanks for sticking with me.
Alright, what happened with the time? I thought I had it set so that the visible timer was set for 7 minutes, and then my own timer was set for 6 minutes. Apparently I messed that up somehow. Yeah, hopefully it wasn't sitting with the timer like that for too long. Alright. So, we are on to Helios. Now, I don't know how long I'll be playing this. Let's shoot for an hour, a little more than an hour, and if I'm still feeling it, I'll keep playing. Hey, it worked! Now, excuse the, green, terminal green with white text. What I can say is that this definitely... Actually, I have to adjust this a bit, because I just realized the bottom of the screen is slightly cropped off. Okay. Which means I'm going to have to adjust. There we go. Oh, excuse me, I did not mean to do that. I'll just move that over a bit. Now, Helios is a DOS game, which is actually how I first encountered it. I first got it from trading floppy disks with my friends in the computer club back in the 90s over summer break. So this game has a bit of an air of mystery to it by today's standards, by people who know about it from hearing about the sort of creepypasta lore of this game. I actually got to experience this, like, not knowing the origin of the game. I actually got it from a floppy disk. Now, I never took this too seriously. I always just thought, hey, it's just a fun backstory for this really cryptic and mysterious game, which I'll show you in a second. But I'm going to do my first ever out loud dramatic reading of this. It's the first time I've really properly read through all this in a very long time. And you'll see when I get started with the game. Okay, my timer's going. My hydration timer's going. Oh, you just got DOSed up on your PS3? Cool. Okay. Now, the audio is via PC speaker. So I'm gonna have it try to pick up through my actual microphone. Hopefully it works all right. It's gonna be very loud for me, but for you it should be pretty decent. But okay, let's get moving. First off, I know you won't believe my story. That's all right. You don't have to believe it. I know what happened, and that's good enough for me. Besides, Helios is fun whether you believe how it came to be. Whether or not you believe how it came to be. I'm not the sort of person who likes UFO stories, and I used to scoff at them all. Whitley Strieber, now there's a nutcase, I'd think to myself. I used to watch Project Blue Book when I was a kid, but that was just TV. I watched Star Trek too. So on May 5th, 1993, UFOs were the furthest thing from my mind. But of course, when you're least expecting it, wham! Life gets turned upside down. Yes, I am referring to the old school internal PC speakers, the little like beep boop little bell speaker inside the box. Oh, thank you. Oh, Jacob Aaron Bourgeoisie, how you doing? Yeah, I'm reading the story of what's basically actually let me move my chat. This layout's new, excuse me. I want to move my chat box up a little higher. Yeah. Up here. There are no other characters in this. This is just his first-person account of what's going on here, of what allegedly happened. Jacob Brown Bourgeoisie, this is basically, if you saw this is the earliest video or computer game that I'm aware of to have creepypasta lore attached to it. Now, it wouldn't be called that because this was back in '93, so the idea of a creepypasta in the modern sense wasn't a thing yet. But I'm not the sort of person who likes UFO stories, and I used to scoff at them all. Whitley Strieber, now there's a nutcase, I think to myself. I used to watch Project Blue Book when I was a kid, but that was just TV. I watched Star Trek too, so on May 5th, 1993, UFOs were the furthest thing from my mind. But of course, when you're least expecting it, wham, your life gets turned upside down. I usually get to bed around 3 in the morning. That night was a little stormy, unusual for Florida in May, especially 93. A bit of lightning kicking off now and then, and the steady hiss of the rain gurgle of the gutters. Occasional car going past, slinging yellowed headlight beams through my bedroom window. I had just closed my eyes when a low, dull hum started up. Very faint, far away. We live near a small airport, so the throaty growl of a private plane is something we're used to and rarely take notice of. Even the eerie drone of the blimps also moored nearby is not common enough to warrant a look. But this was unusual. Private planes, as a rule of thumb, don't fly during storms, or at 3 in the morning. The blimps were certainly well tied down against the gusty wind. So what was that noise, this hum, that was growing louder? Police helicopter, maybe? They always seem to conduct late-night reconnaissance missions in my neighborhood, just when I'm dropping off to sleep. Mayor's dog probably gotten loose again. The light flickering in my windows seemed to confirm this. A strong searchlight beam, apparently, taking inventory of my front yard. Nothing there, fellas. No dogs, no escaped convicts. It was at this point that fear struck me. The light, I just realized, was green. The most brilliant green I had ever seen. No headlight was ever that color. No searchlight would ever be green. And so steady, the hum, having gradually gotten louder over the last minute, seemed constant in volume now. But the tone was changing. Instead of its initial droning pitch, it seemed to be modulating, varying in pitch slightly. There I was, standing near my window, bathed in bright green light, listening to an otherworldly hum coming apparently from right overhead. What would you do? I'll tell you what I did. I ran like a man possessed, nearly killing myself tripping over a stack of phone books in my mad rush to get to the other side of the house, to the door, outside to safety. No way am I going to be trapped in this house with who knows what weirdness, be it spacemen, the CIA, or maybe the Illuminati. I flung open the door, and outside, where the garbage can should have been, was a bright shaft of greenish light, standing in the light, swathed in mist. It was a perfect copy of myself, with its hand outstretched as to open the door to get out. In the movies, the hero would do a Groucho Marx routine and see if the image moved the same way he did. Then he would make friends, learn a new alien language, draw up a treaty, all that stuff. I instead fainted, and fell flat onto my face into the weeds. My last thought was, there go the movie rights. I don't know how long I was out. Whoever does. But it was dark when I woke up. No green light, no mirror image, no burbling hum. The door was still open. The garbage cans were back where they belonged. The rain had lessened to a light drizzle. The full moon was peeking through the thinning clouds. I stumbled around the soggy yard in a daze. I had a vague suspicion that there would be some sort of alien thing waiting for me in the house, so I didn't really want to go back inside. But the eventual realization that I was wandering around my front yard in the wee hours of the morning under a full moon with only my skivvies on made a certain impression on me. So rather than making a big scene, waking the neighbors up and trying to sound less like a deranged lunatic, which I probably was, and more like a damn frightened victim of UFO harassment in his skivvies, I peered in all the windows, looking for suspicious green glows. I didn't see anything strange inside, so I crept back to the door and made my way in, slowly, listening, carefully. I fired up all the lights at once with the light control system. Nothing amiss. Checked the closets, no alien ambassadors. Looked in the shower, no mutants. Opened all the kitchen cabinets, no extraterrestrial slime molds, no super space roaches, nothing. Everywhere I looked, zip. I was beginning to relax, checked the computer room, turned on the computers, make sure all the drives were okay. Perfect. The data, my latest projects, were safe. Much more relaxed now. Delayed stress syndrome kicked in, and I
and I got a sudden, incredible case of the shakes. My heart started to pound, my knees got all weak, and I sank into the chair. And instantly, right out of it, I leapt, like an 800-volt cat. I always leave my chair tucked under the desk, but I had been in the middle of the room when I came in. I grabbed the nearest blunt object, my VCR remote, and scanned the room intently. I don't know what I planned to do with the remote, but there it was, and whatever happened to me, I wanted to die with a weapon in my hand. I kicked the chair away and whirled it into a corner. I stood still for many moments, listening, looking. But nothing moved. Nothing happened. The bright eye of my computer monitor patiently glared at me, almost seeming to say, "What are you up to?" I warily wandered over to the cabinets, hooking my foot under the door, opened each one. Junk, just like I left it. The shelves of books appeared to be undisturbed. My desk drawers I opened with a back scratcher at 3 paces. A mishmash of printouts and faxes. Nothing. Looked under the desk. Dust bunnies. Hell, I feel like an idiot. All this paranoia because I left my chair out for once in my life. I sat heavily into it and wheeled up to the computer keyboard. In the cracks between the keys were traces of green fluid. On the disk drive handle, more. I bolted to my feet once more and searched the whole house again with a flashlight, this time checking each and every cranny. Nothing. Nowhere. Just traces of green slime on the keyboard and the disk drive. Okay, so this UFO roared up to my house at 3 in the morning in the middle of a thunderstorm, scares me till I faint, and the only evidence I have of it is some rapidly evaporating green glop on my computer. And what's this? A new directory on the hard drive? A collection of files in it? Right, sure. Aliens brought me some files. Probably interstellar shareware, right? I copied the files onto a disk, deleted them from the hard drive, and did a complete systems check. Virus check. Disk integrity check. Everything. Nothing was wrong. I go over to the testing machine and punch up the files on the disk. No readme? Why am I not surprised? But there is a bunch of source files and one exe file. I don't mind running strange things on the test machine. That's what it's for. So I fire it up. And what I got then is very similar to what you now have before you in Helios. An incredibly strange, surreal game. No scoring, no words, just some weird symbols. I share it to some friends and tell them where I got it. They quite disbelieve my story, but they do like the game, and I have never seen it or anything like it before. Someone suggests I upload it to a board, so I decide to, but not until I tack on the title screen and some good old-fashioned American entrepreneurial spirit. I divided the game into 2 segments and uploaded the first half under the shareware concept, which is how you got your copy of Helios. I made up the name and the title screen. It's a Van Gogh, of course, and seemed appropriate. Helios, trademark and copyright 1993, Sean M. Puckett, all rights reserved. I hope he doesn't get a cease and desist from the aliens for trying to do a commercial game based on the work of these alien beings. But, yep, so that's the backstory of Helios. And the interesting thing is, I played this game for a while before I realized this story was attached to it. And this is back then. And this game is attached, this story is within the game itself. And so, according to the lore, the original file he received that appeared on his computer after this close encounter starts at the level select screen, or what we call a level select screen. He added the Van Gogh, and this is he calls his company Albino Frog Software, but it is one person who made this, Sean M. Puckett, and so this is actually my first exposure to Starry Night. The title screen Sean added within the lore of this game. The sound effects were added by Sean, but the original game was silent, and it booted straight to what you're about to see here. This is what the game without the title screen, this is what he supposedly was presented with. We have this clock-like interface. We have control of this blue tentacle. And I have to look into this, because as far as I only noticed this yesterday, but as far as I could tell, there's no... this game was uploaded to bulletin boards on the early internet, and was just traded around on copied floppy disks. Now, this is the first half of the game. The second half of the game, which he calls Helios 2, you had to mail him a check or money order, and he would mail you the second half of the game. For a very long time, the second half of the game was kind of extinct online. Eventually, he uploaded it to his official website, which is itself now obsolete. This is not the build of Helios I grew up with. And the only difference I could tell between this build and other builds is that this pointer thing with these blue orbs, it has a very digital kind of movement where it moves very precisely like a clock. And the large ball in the bottom is kind of counterbalanced with the rest of these balls that form the pointer. Like Helios is part 1 of the game. Helios 2 is part 2. This program only contains the code for Helios 1. The only difference I could tell between these two versions of the game that I believe exists, I can find no documentation of this, is that here the pointer moves very digitally. Like when I move the left arrow, it moves to counterclockwise. To move to the right, it moves clockwise, right? But in the build I grew up with, and certain builds, if you look on like DOS archive sites that have this, some builds of this, the tentacle thing moves in a more organic manner. I did not play Helios 2 until just a few years ago. And these games have a cult following. As far as we're aware, no one has ever beaten Helios 2, so no one knows the ending. The ending of this game is very cryptic and mysterious and alludes to alien origins, but no one knows what it means or its significance, and no one's beaten Helios 2. Even people hacking and cheating at the game have not beaten this game. And that's not something I'm adding to add to the mystique of it. It's true. No one's beaten the game. Some believe Helios 2 has no true ending. And it is actually unbeatable. But anyway, like this tentacle pointer thing moves in the balls are very aligned. Whereas in the version I grew up with, and that's on some archive websites, I'll show you how the game works in a couple minutes. Okay, I don't want to talk to you. Go away. All right. But basically, the tentacle sort of waves around in a more organic manner, where the larger balls, as you get towards the center of the clock-like interface. I'm pointing to my actual monitor, like you can see that. Excuse me. They sort of wave back and forth, and I think it's more interesting. And the ball at the bottom is affixed to the center. And what we can do is, as with my control key, I could change these glyphs. So I could change these different glyphs with the tab key. Now that's very... Actually, I'm actually going to take my headphones out and put in earplugs, weirdly enough, because the PC speaker on this is very loud. I don't know if you can hear that properly. Yeah, it is so loud that it's actually making my eardrums ring a bit. Like, it makes a little rattle in my head, but I can very clearly hear the sound effects. Now, if it's too loud for you, I can turn down the audio a bit through the means I have, but from what because the grill of the microphone is facing me, and then the PC is, like, the computer I'm playing this on is, like, behind it, so I have to turn the sound up kind of loud. Okay, it sounds good. All right. And so what happens so I can press Control and change these symbols. Now when I press Enter, now this is the actual game. I'm playing as this blue, what I could only describe as a balloon. This is a physics-based maze game where I could release, by pressing the arrow keys, I could release air in the 4 cardinal directions. By pressing 2, I can move on the secondary directions. So I can move in 16 directions. The Alt key acts as a brake. The windmill, now I could waste air. You see, as I spend air, the balloon gets smaller and smaller. Until it eventually pops. Now the air pump here, the windmill or whatever this is, it inflates the ball. But if I let it inflate too much, the ball bursts, the balloon bursts, and it takes me back to this screen. But I'll go back into the stage. Yeah, the ball has, this is basically running on inertia, like where the ball moves frictionlessly as though it's in space. By pressing Alt, I can break it. Alt acts as a brake. Now, there's a lot of tearing in this that is not... there's tearing and slowdown that I normally don't have problems with in other versions of the game. Like when I played this on my IBM PC... my IBM PS2 system, that was not an issue. But now that I'm up here, now you see these blue gems. We can collect these. Now, when I've seen someone play this for the first time, having no idea what this was. Yeah, it has extreme tearing, unfortunately. I don't know. I've been fussing around for a long time, seeing if I could find some kind of better solution for emulating this that doesn't have the tearing. But yeah, you have to have a gentle hand operating this. If you play this like you're playing like Commander Keen, another PC DOS game, like if you play this, this is not like playing a platformer. It takes very gentle motions to guide the ball while not using up all your air. Because on one hand, I'd want to believe that, like, oh, this is my nostalgia from the 90s and this tearing was always there. But there is one stage, and it's unfortunately one of my favorite stages in the game, that some of the stages have extreme slowdown, and even on other PC... I don't know why. Like, I have this one PC that is... It's like a 2005 system. And I never had problems with slowdown on this game, but on this particular level, there's just extreme slowdown, and this slowdown happens on all the online, like, browser-based emulations I could find of this, and on, like, DOSBox or whatever when I run it on that. What's my PC refresh rate? You know what? I am not sophisticated. I'm barely sophisticated enough to operate DOS to the level that I could even get this to run. In DOSBox, I'll be frank with you. You feel like it's this game probably doesn't have VSync, and it's funny because I don't know, like the browser-based emulations also don't have this problem, and it's like slowdown on these particular levels. And I know the slowdown was not there in the original game because I'm not even sure if I could properly beat this version. Not that I've never beat this game. It's a very difficult game, in my view. Now, I have not played through this level from beginning to end. I played through it once in 2006. I've only beaten the first 2 levels of this. This game gets, at least for me, very difficult very fast. Hey, I forgot that there's another air pump over here. But this is an introductory stage. And now, you could get your ball you can inflate it to the point where, like, the more air you have, the safer you are. Like, your air is basically your hit points here. But you can inflate yourself to the point where you have to deliberately waste air in order to fit through these narrow passages. And and the game gets really brutal in this regard. Now, I've never beaten this before. What graphics driver? I don't know. I'm like, you are so much more sophisticated at this than me. OpenGL, I guess. I really don't know. I have no idea. I just know I just got the game to run.
Like, frankly, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I have like this history with DOS gaming. I never even used. I mean, I have a little experience with like Pro DOS on the Apple II, which, believe it or not, still has official support for it. Weirdly enough. But as far as actually operating DOS, I never did so because I was using back in. So we have warps that we're now introduced to. We have. Yeah, back in the day, on my IBM PS2 value point, I had an operating system called New Deal School Suite. And basically, as I understand, it is some kind of variant of Geos. If I'm even saying that right, because I've never talked out loud to this about Geos or GEOS to someone in the know. Yeah, it's a build of Geos called New Deal, and apparently the company for this still exists, and they are actually trying to charge money for this. And basically anything that New Deal school, like New Deal Office or School Suite would be used for, has basically been replaced by like really light builds of Linux, such as like Ubuntu and stuff like that. So I don't know how this company, I don't know if they still exist, but as of a few years ago, they still existed, and fans of the site were like, what are they doing? Why are they still charging for this? Why are they still enforcing these copyrights? Because this operating system could have a place, but they're not modernizing it, and like, why even sit on this property? But because of having this graphical user interface, this Windows 3.0 style interface, I never had much experience operating MS-DOS because I just had this GUI to sort of do it for me. So I really had to kind of learn DOS. Enabling double buffer. I'll have to do all this some other time because I honestly don't even know what that means. I'm going to be real with you. Like, on one hand, hey, so you saw that flag there? I got all the blue gems, and when you collect all the blue gems and touch that symbol, the flag at the end, you get a hieroglyph or you get a glyph or an alien letter or something. So now we hit escape, we go back to the title screen, and now our first symbol is in place. Now I believe the second symbol is the one I'm pointing to right now, that green one. Now these are these level stages are arranged. You can play these in any order, but they're arranged in a clockwise order from hardest from easiest to hardest, pretty much. So let's go into the orange stage, the second stage. I believe that the symbol for this is this one. I only beat it once though. Now if we can manage to beat 4 or maybe 4 of these. I never beat anything other than these first 2. I've played this game for hours just exploring the stages. Actually getting all the blue gems and making it to the flag is another story. We're gonna inflate ourselves a little bit. Okay. We're at maximum inflation. Don't tell Ben Bernanke. That was a really bad. It is a 1990s economics joke, everybody. Yeah, I'll look into enabling double buffer and stuff like that. I'll see if any of those things improve it. But I've run this on on actually using the same operating system I'm using on this machine that I'm playing on, but without any of these same problems. But the one I was using before was a desktop, and this one is a laptop. Yeah, this is actually the first time I've ever played, I've ever streamed using 2 computers, because my setup looks like I have 2 PCs, but I just have 1 monitor. I have 2 monitors and 1 PC. And okay, we're just going to go down. Yeah, very quiet kind of game. I mean, and this is like, as the kids say these days, the aesthetic, right? Playing this late at night with the sound of crickets, in the background.
Most DOS games don't wait for VSync to refresh the picture. So a double buffer is a possible solution for that, pretty much. And I really don't remember. I'm looking at my broadcast software now because I'm looking at the monitor in front of me that just has a direct feed of the computer. This is the first time I've ever used my capture card. Oh. I just thought of something. Yeah, I just considered something. But this computer doesn't have... DOSBox uses emulated VSync to sync your frame rate with the refresh rate. Okay. Yeah, I just considered something. I could use this... Yeah, I could use this computer to do something... Yeah, I wanted to use my DVD player. Actually, my VCR. You doubt its cap card causing any issues? No, well, the VSync stuff is something I'm seeing raw on my monitor. Because, wait. Well, it was something I was seeing raw when I was running my laptop straight to the monitor. Now I'm running the laptop through my capture card, and then, you know, I considered, I came very close to playing this on the same computer that I'm broadcasting this off of, but I ended up deciding not to and just using my second computer here. Mostly because this build of DOSBox I can get to boot as a square, which is how my monitor was back in the day, whereas DOSBox wants to open up in like that slightly wider than square mode, and I just wanted to play the game in a manner, the way I remember it, pretty much. Yeah, I do think this is the actual emulation that's causing the problem. Alright. Now, the only thing... I mean, I'd love to be playing this using my mechanical keyboard like back in the day, because I originally played this on a Model M, and I very foolishly ended up throwing the darn thing out. This is before I realized how desirable Model M's were, and before I became a professional writer and just wanted a really nice keyboard. But the thing about mechanical keyboards is they pick up really loud on camera, and even using a noise gate isn't enough to silence it enough. Yeah, I don't have I was gonna get one of the Unicomp Model M replicas eventually, and I was gonna get the one with the trackball on it, and use that as my main keyboard, and use my WASD mechanical keyboard as the second one. Oh, you like hearing those mechanical keyboard sounds? All right. Yeah, the only thing I don't like about this is that the control key and the alt key have the function key and the Windows key between them, which is much further apart than those keys would have been on a period keyboard. So I tried playing Commander Keen a bit, and it was not as easy. It just felt odd. I mean, I haven't seriously played Commander Keen since like 2001, but what little I have played. Man, in episode 1 of Commander Keen, I found everything there was to find. I found the dark side of Mars and like the secret stages and all that. I found all of that myself without help from the internet back in the day before I had internet access. I was the cool kid among the kids on my block before they outgrew being computer nerds, unfortunately. All right, if two people interested in this type of stuff. Sorry, I gotta scratch an itch. I put the brakes on my ball here. I gotta scratch this itch, because I'll just be weirdly fidgeting around trying to hide that I'm scratching it otherwise, whereas I could just actually scratch it and be done with it. Alright. So I will be playing Commander Keen. I mean, this setup will be okay for Commander Keen. I just wish... I like the keyboard, and well, one other thing to consider is because of my current... I haven't figured out a way to get DOSBox to play the PC speaker sound. It doesn't... Only... It seems like only... Yeah, I'm new at capturing a computer with my with my capture card, and it seems like the actual audio of the computer will only play as through the actual laptop speakers, which I have to figure out still. But because I'm playing an old PC game, picking up the audio with the microphone, in a sense, kind of adds to the authenticity. You have to set it in the main command of DOSBox. Oh, okay, I'll check that out. But at least for today's purposes, capturing the audio using my actual microphone does kind of reflect, you know, having the sound come out of your PC's speaker back in the day. So it's kind of appropriate for this stream. And it's funny. Okay. Hold on. I'm going to have to copy that for later reference. Where's my... Okay. Yeah, definitely. I'm copying and pasting that into my stream info doc right now. And I will look into that later. I need to change it to a... Okay, there we go. Color I could actually see. Alright. Yeah, so at least... And it's funny because I never really played any of the more higher performance games that had proper sound. Like, I only played the first 3 Commander Keen games that basically just used your little bell speaker inside the PC box. So for those all the DOS games I have history with, this method works fine, but picking it up with my microphone, which apparently sounds fine for those watching, in addition to my keys clacking if I use a mechanical keyboard, might be maybe a little too much to deal with. Now I have to jet into this corner until I get the ball small enough to get into this. Oh, I'm going to have to find a warp to get into this area. Yeah, so thanks, Serial Wars. I'll be looking into those solutions you were mentioning after the stream. Now, okay. I'm playing it full screened. The tearing problems I was having were also happening when I was windowed. I mean, and it being full screen is more for my own sake because I mean, when I capture it, I could frame it however I like in Streamlabs OBS. Do I have to get down? I'm gonna go in here and see what I could find. Because I really have... This is the first time I've been in... this is the first time I've even attempted to seriously complete any level other than the first one in possibly literally decades. Because I beat the first level once just so I could take a screenshot of how the flag mechanic worked for my website. Of how the flag turns into the... Okay. Now I have to... It's scary how tiny I am, but you could get a lot tinier than this. You have to be you could be patient and... Okay, there's the warp. There's the warp I need. So after this, I should have everything. And there's an air pump here. So I can... If you warp into a place that's already too small, your ball automatically loses the minimum amount of air required for the ball to not clip into the area. And in the air pump mechanic, I think, is genius because it makes it... You're kind of taking a risk. There's an actual risk every single time you refill on your hit points, pretty much, where you could accidentally blow up the ball and lose everything because there are no checkpoints in this or anything. I know some builds of DOSBox have like cheat things built into it. That's the only way you could cheat at a game like this, or have... Oh, okay, so we're missing one somewhere, at least one. Okay, so we got to go back. No, we gotta go down. So, like, you don't, like, what is any of this? Like, the air pump, that's
recognizable thing. I mean, if you really wanted to dig in deeper into the alien aspect of this, Puckett could have made it so that, like, there was something else that didn't resemble what a human would recognize as an air pump to reinflate the ball. I mean, imagine, like, if you... I mean, it's hard to even imagine, but imagine some alien being somewhere, like, with no knowledge of humanity, just somehow encountering Super Mario Brothers with no context. They'd be like, what is any of this? And that's even crazier because Super Mario Brothers is a fantasy kind of game. But, like, okay, there's this weird creature I'm playing as, and, or I'm moving it? Or would they even recognize that as a living being? Or an animal? Like, I mean, they'd probably think Mario's clothes were his skin. They couldn't probably, may or may not even recognize that, like, a face, or, like... So in certain aspects, having this abstract game, they did get a good job of feeling something that really would feel weird and mysterious to an Earth Dweller. Oh, you love the physics of this? I know. I know Pete jokes a lot, and other streamers joke a lot about the physics, but this, yeah, these are the kind of physics that. Oh wow, there's another warp area. Okay. And later, and those sharp things, those are what they look like. If I tried to pass through those, it would pop my ball instantly. So I have to find a way to warp into here. Those are probably the last gems that I need to collect. And I don't necessarily need to get all the gems, but for each gem I collect... for each glyph I collect, and mind you, as of right now, and I did go looking for this, I cannot find the solution to the game anywhere online. There's videos of spoiling the end screen, but right now there's no there's nothing available online that just has which glyphs to enter into the level select screen to activate the ending. If you can call it that. And yes, I mean, of course, you can just look on YouTube Helious DOS, and you can find the end screen effortlessly. Okay. I don't know if sometimes blue gems might have warps hidden behind them. Okay, so we got that one. I do feel like I need to refill on air. Okay. This is... Now that I'm low... I used to play Habbo Hotel back in the day. I discovered it back in, like... Actually, I think my friend found it in, like, 2001. And, we'd get into some shenanigans. None of the more infamous stuff that became associated with it later on. Does Habbo Hotel even still exist? I do remember Habbo Hotel at the time being marketed more towards a UK audience, if I remember correctly. Because I think there were, like, in-game purchase... If you don't know, Habbo Hotel is basically, like... Oh, you're playing it at 6 years old on dial-up? Alright. I mean, like, it worked... If I remember correctly, it worked pretty okay on dial-up, too. And there were country-specific ones circa 2004. Okay, even by 2004, I was totally... Like, I was off Habbo Hotel by then. I was more into Homestar Runner. I know that's something I was doing online. I remember me and my friend... The same one who actually introduced me to Habbo Hotel. Oh, here we go. And it was right near the beginning of the game, too. I think... No, that's not the beginning of the stage. But I remember me and my friend... He had the Homestar Runner DVD set with the first 100 Strong Bad emails.
and we like binged watched the first 100 Strong Bad emails on the night that we were waiting for the Nintendo DS to launch. That would be interesting. I don't know how. You have to figure out something so that the chat could be integrated without it being, I guess, maybe too distracting for the player. But we all know that there are certain ways that groups of players working, conspiring together can troll in Habbo Hotel in rather insidious ways. So, so it comes with the pros and cons. Yeah, it was like 2000 or 2001, 2002 that I remember me and my friends would go into Habbo Hotel. And I remember like seeing, like, I guess I was waiting for a room to load. They'd be little like PSAs. And they'd be like, there was like a PSA with like a bunch of like Habbo's like characters, which was sort of little 16-bit-ish like isometric avatars in a chat room like environment. But what happened was it had like a couple of Habbos in bed together, and you'd make it was kind of like a me where you'd make it look like you, and it said like, don't cyber, it's against the Habbo way. And it's like, okay, I can understand like you're marketing this to kids and you don't want like adult content going on, but the whole like don't cyber, it's against the Habbo way. Like, it's against the esteemed and prestigious code of conduct and the exalted goodwill and reputation associated with Habbo Hotel, which is kind of hilarious, especially in the context of what Habbo Hotel sort of became known for later on. Oh wow, I used to do Habbo pixel art in MS Paint. Was that something you could actually upload into the game or anything like that, or is it just fan art you were doing just for the heck of it? Now I'm a little scared. My ball is small. It can get smaller than this, believe it or not, significantly. And there, some of the more challenging stages will have to go through an entire stage with the ball at this size, or most of the stage with the ball at this size or even smaller. Now, I know the weight of the flag at this point, so that's not going to be a problem. I'll use the slightest jet of air there, so I didn't have to use a second jet of air to aim the ball low. Oh man. Now that we're in a much more precarious stage, all those worries about there were Habbo internet radio stations. I remember internet radio in general. Now, to be the only internet radio station I ever really used was WTMK, which was the internet radio station of the Mushroom Kingdom fan site. Oh, look at that. I did all that just for a dead end. I'm a little scared now. Now this is... You know what I feel like? I feel like this is training you to like pilot like NASA drones. Like how we just did that thing where we landed a satellite drone rover thing on a meteor and then on an asteroid or something, and then hopped it back off of it. Now it's heading back to Earth so we can have samples of the asteroid. I feel like I'm operating something like that, where it's like you do this tight little adjustment. Yeah, I was gonna bounce off that wall. Yeah, video game fan site dedicated to internet radio shows was really the precursor to Twitch. That's definitely... Yeah, in WTMK... Yeah, Winamp. What was that saying on, Winamp? It really kicks the camel's ass or something like that. I remember having like custom Winamp skins. And all that kind of stuff. Now, what was it? Oh, it kicks the llama's ass or some animal or another. It's like it kicks that animal's ass or something, some weird slogan that was associated with Winamp. Oh my gosh. Is this just the... Okay, I'm gonna have to sit here and wait. And remember scourging boards to find one that resembled the original Xbox Dash theme. Wow. Man, WTMK wasn't... They didn't really do shows. They just had a 24-hour stream of random... Oh my gosh. We got it. We got it. We got it. Fortunately, there's a lower passage to this, or else this would take a lot longer. Now imagine if I got here and there's still a blue gem left. I'm pretty sure we got them all. Yeah, they just played randomized Mario music, but they played randomized Mario music, and this is like pre-YouTube when people would just post different music to YouTube. So they'd have all these obscure... Hey, we got the glyph, and believe it or not, I actually managed to remember what symbol was associated with it. It's the one that's in that little box thing. Okay. So, we have the Z, then we have that. So, we're good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we've got 2 out of 9. Yeah, thanks. Yeah. Let's see. Let's go to stage 3. Now this is the first stage, I believe. We're getting bigger and bigger with these stages. And this is the first stage that has shooting and that has oh yeah, the game did not tear like this back in the day. Oh well, hey, to my own credit, I remembered the first 2 for like 20-ish years at least, because I wasn't confident in my memory. The first one I always remembered. The second one, now there's a object that's shooting pellets that's going to that basically act as visualized wind. And when they hit us, it sends us back. It doesn't damage the balloon, but it does send us back. Now, there are mines around the outside of this room that will destroy the ball. So now I have to use a lot of air to fight against this sort of wind, this current of wind, pretty much. We're gonna get this other one. I don't want to go to the warps yet. Now here we've got a warp that takes us to another warp. So this is becoming increasingly maze-like. Okay, so all that area is basically just to introduce us to warps that take us to other warps. We have to use a lot. Now that beeping sound, that actually used to trigger crickets. If there were any male crickets, they would start chirping in response to that sound. Because female crickets are quiet, but the male ones, they make a bunch of noise. And crickets are kind of funny, because when they chirp, if the cricket gets in my house and it's chirp, it's basically going, here I am, here I am, here I am. And then you go and like find them, and you pull over whatever they're hiding behind. If you type in Serial Wars, if you type in Helios DOS, you can find the game files yourself. And whatever, it's not hard to find. It used to be very hard to find. Now it's, oh my gosh. Now, Fortunately, we didn't make much progress there, but that's the hazard of inflating the ball. If I could guess the first 5. Oh, I'm just using, yeah, I'll send you the file that I'm using. And I'm using some weird build of DOSBox because, basically, vanilla DOSBox doesn't want to... No, actually, no, I'm not. Never mind, I'm not. I take back everything I just said because I forgot I've already done other stuff. Since I know... now, it's probably going to take me going through... I'm going to have to take some exploratory ventures through the game. Now, I know that there are those 2 gems down there. Actually, I am going to go back and get them because I don't even know where the flag is in this stage. Because yeah, there are a lot of DOSBox builds floating around. I'll show you. I'm using whichever one was the first one that pops up on the and actually whatever those DOS archive sites are using in their browser is having the same sort of slowdown and tearing problems. So I can't even say, yeah, I don't even know where the flag is. So in a sense, it's almost worth it just to try to find the flag first and then make a strategy for collecting all the gems. We've only encountered blue gems so far. Blue gems are what activates the flag to turn into the... Oh, there's the doggone flag. All right, never mind. All right, so... yeah, okay. There we go. Yeah, it's whatever little DOS thing that they're running within the web browser page. What I'm using is native on my computer. But I've had the same slowdown problems. There's this one stage that is fun. Like, I spent hours grinding this one stage, and just trying to find the flag, because it's kind of a point A to point B stage, and the flag is at the very end. So I was just having fun just getting to the flag. And I only did it once or twice, and it was a real triumph of my skill as a gamer just getting to the flag. I didn't even try to find all the gems. Personally can't stand playing a game in a browser if there's an alternative. And I personally just assume it's not even going to look good. Now, I wasn't paying attention to which one I warped out of. But as far as exploring these warps, I'm going to go in a clockwise manner. And they are, eventually we will be encountering enemies. I don't think there are any in this stage. And we'll be encountering enemies and other colored gems other than the blue ones that we've seen so far. Yeah, I've never seriously played a game in a browser since, like, you know, early 2000s, you know, Newground era. Okay, so we've got 3 warps here. And we can fit through here without spending any air, so I will. Okay. You don't like the concept of playing a game in a browser since it relies on caching or making HTTP requests to receive game data. I didn't even think of it on that level. I just think aesthetically it just seems to look so... It's not the hottest. Hey! We're gonna collect these, because I have no idea... I don't think... Yeah. Gonna use that inertia to float back, and the ball basically does not stop unless it hits an object. So it's as though it's floating frictionless in space. Okay. This seems pointless, but I think the point of this little area is to let me see more of the stage and get a sense of where I'm at in relation to everything else. Because I'm up top in that area. That's where I was exploring before. Okay, so upper right in this little dog bone type space. Is Genshin Impact, is that a browser game? Or is, I know it's a free-to-play game, and I always associate free-to-play with browser, but I know that's not true. It's on PC and a few of the consoles. And I know it got all this negative attention for being a Breath of the Wild ripoff, but it's, now that I've actually seen some of the world building and everything, it's like Mick Kids is more of a Super Mario Bros. 3 ripoff than Genshin Impact seems to be a Breath of the Wild ripoff. Because in terms of the actual gameplay, I mean, it's basically a totally different genre. It is literally a totally different genre. And a lot of the elements, like the ancient robots that they're saying are ripped off from Breath of the Wild, are basically things that Breath of the Wild kind of ripped off from Laputa, Castle in the Sky, the Studio Ghibli film. And then, like, the things that Breath of the Wild kind of borrowed, the concepts that Breath of the Wild borrowed from Laputa. Laputa ripped off even more directly, like the robot design itself was even more directly ripped off from an episode of the old Fleischer Superman cartoon from, I think, the 30s or 40s. So the people who are like, I don't know, there's some people, I guess, who don't have much exposure to the things that Breath of the Wild was drawing from to begin with. Laputa. Yeah, Castle in the Sky. And the North American release was Castle in the Sky because Laputa in Spanish meant something very different. And Laputa, like, it's a Hayao Miyazaki film. You know, it was one of the Studio Ghibli releases. One of the early, I think it was technically the first official Studio Ghibli release. There was Nausicaa, which was by the same studio pretty much, but it was before the Studio Ghibli name. And then they kind of, after Nausicaa was a success, they basically formed Studio Ghibli to make, for the same team that made for Nausicaa to make further films. And Laputa is pretty much, yeah, oh, so you're familiar with Castle in the Sky, huh? Would I stream Mick Kids? I'm going to tell you something. My only exposure to Mick Kids was the Angry Video Game Nerd episode. And I think James made it clear when he was in character that the game wasn't bad. They're just frustrating things that are easy to make fun of. There are other McDonald's games that I'm interested in streaming of, probably before Mick Kids. I'd probably have to emulate it at this point because it's a unique kind of game. I think I've been through all these warps now. I think I've explored this whole little area. I don't want to spoil it necessarily, but there is a McDonald's game I have been interested in playing that you may or may not have even heard of and has a strange name that you wouldn't associate with McDonald's. And it is an officially licensed McDonald's tie-in game. It was released for an 8-bit system, and that's all I'll say for now. But if I play it, I will probably just go ahead and resort to PC emulation, because I just don't feel like altering my NES Classic Edition, because part of my motivation for, I don't know, I'm not morally opposed to it, I just kind of don't want to, because I like having it in its official state. But for practical purposes, I honestly might as well. I don't know. But, yeah, there is a McDonald's-themed game I do plan on playing eventually. Okay. Hey, okay, so we're out of there. We've got that area, I think we fully explored. We're just hoping for some good bounces. Okay, I'm gonna have to intervene here. Yeah, it's a piece of hardware made to emulate Nintendo games. I just like having things. I just kind of like having things in their official state. I enjoy that for some reason. I'll look into it and see how complicated it is. I'm sure it's not. For you, Serial Wars, I think it would be like you could probably sneeze and accidentally jailbreak an NES Classic Edition. But for me, it's like I barely got DOSBox to run. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just being weird. I'm just being stubborn and weird. Because for practical purposes, I might as well mod it. But I just really like having it in its official state, and I don't want to risk somehow bricking it. And now we're going up into this yellow area. You typing the command in DOSBox was harder than jailbreaking an NES Classic. Really? Okay, so I'll look into it a bit. I will. Because I do want to play like some of the translated NES Goemon games. Because none of those games were released in North America. I'd like to play those. And from what I understand, or what it seems like the infamous unlicensed game Little Red Hood, which was the subject of an AVGN episode, it seems like that particular game was kind of a bad ripoff of the first Goemon game, based on what little I played of the first Goemon game. Like, just looking at Little Red Hood, now the stages are laid out, it does, and the shops and everything, it does kind of remind me of the first Goemon game, but I couldn't actually play the first Famicom Goemon game, because there was an earlier Konami Goemon game that was, you could argue as to whether or not that game was part of the Goemon series that developed on Famicom, but it was a game based on the same. It was based on the myth of Ishikawa Goemon, who was kind of the Japanese Robin Hood-like figure. But yeah, but if you're not... Oh, but getting back to Laputa real quick, or Castle in the Sky, that movie pretty much is kind of a Gulliver's Travels spin-off, if you're familiar with Gulliver's Travels. And the thing I am always frustrated about Gulliver's Travels, I mean, we had the Jack Black version about a decade ago. Using a multi-system EMU would be more accurate than using NES Classic. Okay. Honestly, that, like, Mednafen. I'll just have to get a USB controller, because I mean, the last time I seriously emulated NES was with Nesticle. All praise the Fecal King. It gives you a bit of a backstory. Nesticle, if you don't know, was a program that had a rather questionable graphical user interface, and a bit gory and a bit adult. And that phrase I mentioned, that I don't feel like saying again, was something that was in the About page, because the person who programmed it gave themselves a very colorful moniker. Now, okay, we're going to stop that. We're going to go up. And this is the most time I've ever spent. Oh, Metafen has no GUI? Yeah, forget it then. I mean, I'm not trying to... yeah, I have no hope. I have no hope, honestly. Alright. It's been an hour, so I'm going to put the brakes on this game, literally. I'm going to put the brakes there, because there's no time limit. I'm going to get up and take a little stretch. And because I didn't think I'd... This is the longest I've ever been playing and felt as good as I have. In a long time, actually. So, it's only been another hour, but I'm going to get up and stretch, get a little more water. Oh, they're third-party GUIs made for it? Okay, then I'll be using one of those. So I'm going to get up and stretch, and I'll be back in... Okay. 6 minutes for you, 5 minutes for me.
Okay. And I'm going to switch to my break screen. And I will be back. Okay, I'm back. On time this time. Nice. Actually, let me get my water. One of my water bottles. Just move it closer. Alright, now I'm back. And right back to the game. I'm gonna play for another hour and change and call it. I set a timer for myself. Right now I feel like I do a longer stream, but I do have things I want to get on with. But I'll be playing this game again, for sure. And the nice, Med GUI Reborn is a great front end for that. Yeah, sometimes from when I go to my title screen, it'll take a moment or several moments to actually start the timer, because it's an actual different. It's not even a widget or anything on Streamlabs. It's just a separate. What was the point of that warp? Was that really what I thought it was? Did that really just? Okay, just warp me like a trivial amount of space over. Okay, I just want to go get an air refill. But I know there's one nearby. Oh, no. Okay, I have to go up. Up and over. I'll get the biggest air refill I can get. But the nice thing is that I can effectively... Now, if this is the risk of... I could lose everything I got up to this point. Yeah, it's an actual I just Google searched like timer program Windows and just downloaded the first thing that didn't look like a creepy overseas website. And yeah, at least this stage great for conversation. Now that I've gotten this to work as well as it has, I mean, I'll see how... Oh, your neighbor was returning with library DVDs? Yeah. I have to go and find the local libraries around here. I mean, there was one big library, but it turned to be a children's library. I know where the adult library is. I just never went there. And there was no particular... I seem to time my breaks perfectly. I'm still experimenting. I mean, right now, this stream I've gone with about 5 minutes every hour. It worked good once. Let's see if it works good with this, because that was my second break, so this is my second time. This is my third hour streaming. Because the first hour was Mario 35, then the next hour was... I wonder if it's because, like, I'm sitting with my hands up on the desk. And I wonder if that is helping with my circulation and stuff. Because there's an old DOS Elvira game I could stream. You know, I don't know. If that game involves complex audio, I couldn't make it work right now. Because I can only do like PC speaker beeps and boops right now. Because right now I'm literally just picking up the audio from my microphone. And for this simplistic Bell speaker audio, this works well enough. But hey, okay, for the first, we got a non. I haven't bothered. Not really. Yeah, this has been pretty good. Yeah, this has been a very good physically stream. Basically no symptoms. Now we have a weapon. There's a yellow diamond superimposed over our ball, and pressing control makes it shoot a little spark in the direction I'm traveling in when I fire. And it eventually goes away. Now, I don't know, I guess since this is the first stage with weapons, this might also be the first stage with enemies. Okay. Oh, okay. There's a ball not that deep into an air pump not that deep. Now, when I was playing this on my IBM PS2, which it does not mean not everyone knows what that means. Excuse me. IBM PS2 means like Personal System 2. So the IBM PS2 series was basically what to the original IBM PC, what PS2 was to PS1. So there was IBM PC, which I guess would be Personal System 1, and they came up with Personal System 2, which, higher performance computers, and it had a certain standard for input and outputs for the keyboard and mouse and other accessories. And to this day, like your old-fashioned like non-USB connections for your keyboard and mouse are based on the standard. That's why they still call them a PS2. Like a lot of keyboards will come with a USB and an adapter for a weird old-fashioned kind of plug. Those plugs are PS2 plugs, or meaning Personal System 2, and not PlayStation 2. Oh my gosh, that was close. That was close. Alright. Since it's right there... Well, I don't know, because inflating the ball makes me a bigger target. I'm going to have to waste a certain amount of air. But fortunately, I mean, you can't save within the stages easily. Well, actually, I could. Yeah, you can't save within the stages easily, but simply by virtue of the fact that, with this particular game, just really knowing the glyphs is all that matters. And if we could manage to get like 4 or 5 stages, you don't even have to do the stages in order. If we could solve a few stages, we can be sneaky and figure out the last few symbols by process of elimination. I mean, you can make like an... Oh my gosh. Oh, we need to lose that air anyway to make it through here. We're going to go left first. I'm going to go in the clockwise, and if there's a binary option, I'm going to go from... Okay. I'm going to waste too much air trying to get through that, so I'm going to warp back to here. It's going to be a tight fit, but if I love... Okay. Now, within the game's lore, Sean Puckett himself actually added the sound effects to the game. The original game was completely silent, according to him. Well, according to the lore. Because I really don't think Sean Puckett ever intended the lore of this to be taken as seriously as it has been. Which I think kind of... I know, like, with creepypastas, you're, like, part of the I guess the unspoken rule is you're supposed to pretend, even though you know it's not real, you're supposed to basically pretend it is, and it's kind of like a role-playing type thing in it to an extent. Alright. It's scary because I don't know how close I am to finishing this. And if I finish this, I'm gonna see if I can leave DOSBox open on this computer. Because unfortunately I do use this computer for other things, so I'm not able to just leave it right here where I'm at. Yeah, I think they have enough, I think Scientology has enough lore to work with without having to appropriate shareware games. But I know, like, my mom said she got like one of those personality test things from someone in the street in like the early 80s or something, or mid 80s. And she was getting like mail and like junk mail from those people like for years and years and years afterwards. Like, and it's crazy because like those I don't want to get too deep into this because potentially get controversial or involve real life bad stuff, but like I saw people in New York City like the Scientology people giving those stress test things,
And I could barely see with just looking at this device that they're using that they're very obviously operating the machine like right in front of your face to indicate what they say is a high stress level and that you need their help. So you walked. Oh, you went in and took the test, huh? And let me guess, it said that you had high stress and you needed to give the Church of Scientology money so they could help you, right? I'm guessing. I'm just assuming that's what it said. It was the most uncomfortable thing. Just being in that room and the questions, the way that people talk to me. Yeah, like way just so explicitly creepy, and it's like I'm just looking. Wasn't even listening to the questions. I don't even know what kind of questions they ask, and knowing them, I'm sure it could get very uncomfortable very fast. But you got 20% done, and left. They tried so hard to get you to come back and finish it. Yeah, that sounds about right. Because I get just even knowing nothing else. I just looked at what they were doing, and the equipment was so very obviously to me a hoax device, where the person giving the test was able to alter the results of what the machine was indicating in real time to go along with whatever they were trying to con the person into believing. So, yeah, I don't go. Yeah, it's just a mess. Don't go near it. And yeah, those guys are creeps. But and don't they have some kind of? Your brother did that when you were young, and it's kind of bizarre. They never stopped sending a letter. Yeah, I'm sure. Like I heard, it's really hard to. They have like infinite resources because I guess whatever money and attention they expect to get out of you is going to be worth all that money. Sending all those unanswered letters, all those to try to get people to, go along with whatever they're trying to. Oh, okay. I believe I've explored this area to its fullest extent. Now this is gonna be scary because it's gonna cost a lot of air to get out of here. Oh yeah, okay, there we go, because those mines will deflate. They'll end my ball. They'll end my game. And there's no checkpoints. There's no going back. If you lose your ball, you got to start from the beginning. And look how. I've been playing this level for a while now. Now, I don't know what they want me to do with this weapon I've got. Okay. Do I dare? Okay, I don't dare. Because if I overinflate the ball, it explodes. If the ball runs out of air, it explodes. The game's over. If your ball overinflates, it explodes. The game's over. There's no mercy. There's no continues, no checkpoints. And in this build of DOSBox, there are no save states. So, almost got through without having to spend any more air. Now, okay, we're inching up on. Okay, we're gonna have to spend some air to get out of here. Now I'm holding the brake and holding the up and down buttons. Because fortunately the controls aren't inverted. Like to move down, you press down, but it sends a jet up the top of the ball. Because you're sending the jet in the opposite direction you want the ball to move. This game would be a totally different game and probably way less fun if they decided to actually make you have to press the opposite button. Now, I seriously doubt we've gotten all the blue gems, but just in case, Nope. Nope. There's still some blue gems out there. So we traveled through that yellow area. We traveled through the... What's left that we haven't been to? Have we been down? Have we traveled down a great deal? I don't feel... Okay, we've been down there. Yeah, okay, so we're just gonna have to go down. We're gonna have a chance to fill up on air. There are no enemies. But why do they want me to... Because there's stuff I've seen that we definitely haven't been to yet. Okay. Have I been down here yet? This is where it gets scary, because if I wasn't been paying proper attention, I could waste a whole bunch of time by coming down here. We've been in that center area. What is one of my fondest childhood memories of a Halloween costume? The first Halloween costume I ever had was a dinosaur costume. I was a dinosaur in pre-K. Now, there are these costumes. I don't think these exist anymore. But they used to have these weird costumes. And what it was it was a mask of what you were supposed to be that went over your face. Okay. And then the rest of the costume was a plastic smock that had a picture of what you were supposed to be. So, like, let's say you were Dracula. You'd have a Dracula mask, right? You put the Dracula mask on. Then a plastic smock that had a picture of Dracula on it. Like, not like his, that tuxedo type thing with the medals that he often is depicted with. It would just be a picture of Dracula. So I had a dinosaur costume, and it was a dinosaur mask. Okay. Then there was the plastic smock had a picture of some dinosaurs on it. And then it was a glow-in-the-dark costume, which meant it glowed in the dark. Okay, fine. But then, 70% of the smock was covered with this giant logo that says glow-in-the-dark. And I loved it as a kid, and as an adult, I love it because of how absurd it was. It wasn't... Now I was in pre-K. It wasn't until about 3rd grade that I realized what a weird concept for a costume that was. You used to be obsessed with wearing costumes as a kid. Your mom would sew me these custom Superman costumes. The homemade costumes were the best. I remember one year I wanted to be a pirate. And I don't know why. I just decided that. I guess I just wanted to be something because all my friends were dressing up. And so my mom made me a hook for a hand. She took the inside of a water bottle, a cylindrical water bottle, cut it, and then got a hook to hang a planter off of and glued that to the end. So I had a little hook for a hand. It was a really cool idea. It's really cool improvised costumes. When you go to Goodwill or Salvation Army, even though that organization has some issues, to say the least. But you just go to a thrift store, a secondhand store, and just find what you can and make something out of it. Yeah. I used to cry she wouldn't let me go out in public with costumes on. Yeah. No train costumes. I don't know, it's funny. I actually, now that you mention it, I did have a little, conductor, outfit. Or actually, it was probably more of an engineer's outfit. I had the hat and I had the overalls. But I never wore it for Halloween. I think my parents got it for me. And sometimes I'd wear the hat. And I think the hat had my name embroidered on it, which was cool. and I guess sometimes I'd wear the hat when I was playing with my wooden toy trains. But I never really thought of it as a costume to wear for Halloween or something like that. And I never I haven't thought about this outfit for years. I do have a picture of it somewhere. It's but I never thought about, I never really thought much about. Now I have to figure out which way I need to go to progress the scenario and grab more blue gems. And this is where the game starts getting scary, because I could spend, if I'm not playing like hammer-handed and spending a lot of air, which is very risky, I could end up going through a very elaborate section of the game that I've already been through, only to find that I have already been. Now, this yellow area is where I was last through. And I'm coming back here because the yellow area was the last area I found where I'm very sure I saw things that I never actually got to access. Those two warps just, those are just obnoxious, and they just warp you back and forth between those two little spots. Yeah, okay, good. No, okay. Fortunately, those aren't insta-kills, but they do deplete your air very quickly. I don't know. I need to go back down here. There's something I've seen that I definitely have not fully explored, I don't think. Now, this is the southernmost point of... the northernmost point of the stage. Yeah, I'll never forget those little beeping sounds that would trigger the crickets. You were surprised when you saw me streaming DOS game. This is your favorite game you've seen me play. Wow, cool. Because I definitely always intended to play Commander Keen. I have a background with DOS, but I've played rather few DOS games back in the day. And I've really only played since then what I played back in the day. So there's a lot for me to discover on DOS. Now, okay. I didn't play it, but I watched my friends / people who tolerated me too much to actually kick me out of their house. They had Sega Channel, and I saw them playing Kid Chameleon. Yeah, it makes it sound like I had a horrible childhood describing it that way, but yeah, they weren't kids I really needed to be hanging out with, so when they kind of kicked me out of their clique, it was for the better. And plus they were the only kids in the neighborhood except for one who I didn't really meet yet. So it was either hang out with them or nothing. But I did see them play Kid Chameleon. I watched a streamer play it a while ago, and there's a lot I remember and a lot I don't. I mainly remember just the virtual reality aspect of it, and how cool, how very specifically 90s cool the characters were. Yeah, it's like when you're at that age where, like, you go to school and so there are kids around you that you're preconditioned to be around and you're, like, required to get along with to some extent, but you don't have quite the complexity to understand the difference between those people and people who you can call friends, and neither did they. So, and plus, on top of that, being on the autism spectrum probably complicated that a bit as well, from my perspective. I just know one of the last straw moments when I stopped hanging out with these kids, and this is probably a couple of years after the whole Sega Channel thing where they were playing Kid Chameleon. One day there was, like, we found this bike in the garbage, and a lot of people in our neighborhood, they would throw bikes to the curb to be taken as the garbage, but they were still functional bikes, so we just take them and use them sometimes. And there was this one bike that we got from the trash, and we put it on the street corner. And it was like the neighborhood bike, anyone could use it. And for you get okay. And the kids in the neighborhood decided to call this bike the Ghetto 2000. All right? And one day I went to go ride it, and one of the other kids actually ran out of his house to stop me. And he would get physical with me. He's like, "Hey, why are you taking that bike?" I was like, "I thought this was the neighborhood bike any kids could use." He's like you're not ghetto enough to ride the Ghetto 2000. And that's when I figured out that these aren't probably people I need to be giving any amount of time or attention to. It would literally replay roleplay Legend of Zelda during recess, like during first grade. I remember I had a pal that during like kindergarten and first grade, me and my friend, we would roleplay Sonic the Hedgehog, but I don't really know how you could consider that role-playing, because basically role-playing Sonic the Hedgehog was basically one of us would be Sonic and one of us would be Tails, and we never argued who was who, so I don't think it mattered. And we'd basically just run around the playground at recess. That was it. We just run around the playground. And that was Sonic the Hedgehog. Yeah. And it's funny because I didn't even actually play any of the games where you could play as Tails. My only exposure to Tails was from Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, and very soon after Sonic Sat AM. Which is, Sonic Sat AM, that is on Amazon Prime, which means I could do watch parties for it. When I have my money sorted out, I need to go ahead and get Amazon Prime so I could do stuff like that. Serial Wars, are you familiar with Sonic Sat AM at all? Even if it's just like having known that it exists, or me having mentioned it, or looking at someone's YouTube retrospective on it, because I know Nostalgia Critic did a video about it. I would like to do a watch party for Sonic Sat AM. So have you actually seen it, or you just sort of know about it and maybe watched retrospectives or something like that? I've already collected. There were blue gems here before, and I've collected them. I believe that's what's going on here. You would be keen to watch it? Have you ever watched it before? Have you ever actually watched it before? Oh, you have Amazon Prime, Boy? Alright. I mean, a lot of people just have it. I don't even have any paid video services. And honestly, if I got Prime, it would be more to stream it than to actually... You've seen episodes here and there as a kid. So, based on some stuff you said earlier this stream, you really liked it when you came on. It was rare where you were at. And so you would have seen it not in its country of origin. And you would have seen it well after its... You would have seen it on reruns, because it was well after the fact of its initial run. I have a couple episodes on tape that are actually from its initial run, which I'm with commercials and all, which I'm very proud to be in possession of. And I have those tapes digitized, but they're digitized, and they're not digitized in a video file format. You might have even been watching VHS tapes. They're not digitized in a video file format. They're not like MPEGs. They're digitized basically as DVDs, so like with the menu and everything, which makes it hard to... Because at least for the... like, I could do... people do those 80s and 90s commercial streams. I could do streams like that of stuff that, like, complete commercial breaks in their day. Now, I'm going to have to take a quick break. I'll be right back. You can imagine what I'm off doing, but I'll be right back.
Yeah, so I have ideas for things I'd like to do on Thanksgiving. Incoming, my chat, my Microsoft message that's 30 seconds in the past. But yep, there it is. There it is. Thank you, Serial Walrus. Gotta love that Twitch delay. Um, you can only. I'm on my own. I can only help. So you can only help me so much with stuff like that. I just have to be on it. And all right. So play for another 30. Yeah. We'll see how I feel after 20 minutes. That'll be 5:30 local time. And I do have other things I'd like to do today. And I didn't think I'd be streaming this long because I didn't think I'd feel this good for so long. You know what? Next time, I'm going to play with the controller. When I play a console game, I'm going to play with the controller in the hands. Oh, yeah, because of your distinct method of watching. Alright. I don't know where I'm going now. Yeah, so I mean, the game, I'm just happy I've gotten DOS to run this well. If this is as well as I can get it, I'd be fine. If we could fix the tearing issues, that'd be great. I don't think I'll have to do a slight testing of Commander Keen, which the games I'm basically blind on because it's been so long since I played them. Now, what's unfortunate is that Commander Keen game that got announced at E3 2018 or E3 2019. Yeah, it was E3 2019. That Commander Keen game is basically it's known to be canceled at this point. Bethesda has moved any reference to it from the internet. There's an official Twitter page and the official postings of the trailer, and it's a shame because a lot of the Commander Keen fan base was outraged at that. But almost everything I saw, they were mad that it was a mobile free-to-play game that looked like it had gacha mechanics. The actual atmosphere, the attitude, the artwork was something that only a passionate team of fans who loved Commander Keen could have ever put together. Yeah. So, on one hand, I'm glad. I think everyone were glad that the free-to-play mobile game was canceled because it looked like garbage, and it looked like it was going to be a disgrace to the franchise. But the actual artwork and everything else other than the game itself and the choice of platform looked fantastic. Oh, look. Okay, we got to get to the left. I see a blue gem there. How do we get to the left? I'm firing. I just thought of something. Now that MS... there's one Commander Keen game that somehow id and then... No, I think a third-party company made it. And somehow it ended up, it's not owned by Bethesda. Or id. Somehow it ended up on the Nintendo Switch eShop. And I think it was unreleased back in the day and kind of just gradually leaked on the internet years after the fact of the intended original release. It's called... I have not played any of the Keen games other than the Attack of the Vortigons trilogy. But if they do release the Commander Keen trilogy on Xbox Live or something like that, I will play that. I would get an Xbox Series S to play it. I would do that. I would go ahead and get an Xbox Series S. That would tip me over because oh my gosh, where am I supposed to go? I'm lost. And I forgot how to unfull screen. Oh yeah, okay. I can easily unfull screen this. I'm going to try to leave this open when I stop streaming. Because unfortunately, I do use this computer for other things. It's held together with duct tape. Oh, what kind of music you're listening to? Where am I going? So up here, we know what's up here. You have that section of yellow stuff, but it's completely Dragon Ball Lo-Fi on YouTube. So, but all the stuff on the left. Yeah, but if Commander Keen plays smoothly, I will play that in the not-so-distant future on Twitch. Because that game, as far as I'm aware, doesn't get a lot of play, at least not in English. Because a few months ago when I checked, the only gameplay I could find of it was in German or Dutch. Or I think it might have been Danish. And yeah, and it's just a game series that doesn't get a lot of play. You know, what's better than getting an Xbox? No, and I wouldn't get the Xbox just for Commander Keen. It's just that, like, all the other things that I could expect on the system or that are already on there with Game Pass that aren't Windows available on Windows would put me over the edge. Getting my roommate to get me an Xbox? Yeah. My roommate used to play Breath of the Wild on my Switch a lot. Now, Breath of the Wild was really the only game they ever played on my Switch, so. And frankly, until I started streaming, it's very possible that my roommate put as much or more time on my Switch than I have. Because I'm going to tell you, like, I would be surprised if only half of the amount of the time that I've spent on my Switch was spent. There's another. Okay, we're gonna go down. That was your Xbox One experience. As you had a roommate with one in the living room. Cool. Yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if less than half of the time I spent on my Switch was spent on nothing other than, well, it was spent while streaming. And then on top of that, I wouldn't be surprised if there we go. So we're gonna try this again. I think there's no button I can press to trigger that. I just have to move the ball over it till it goes. But the nice thing is, when I come back to this, I could start from this stage or do it at a completely different stage. There's a general sort of sense of difficulty from least to greatest. The last stage has an interesting gimmick to it where it uses a weapon in interesting ways. You hate how many chatbots are on Twitch? Chatbots in terms of, like, fake chatters? Or, like, just different options for, like, triggering things or reminding you of different things? Is that... yeah, I'm not sure what you meant by chatbot, because I've heard both, like, spam AI things and, like, things you could sign up for to get fake viewers that are, like, robots that will participate in chat. Oh, proxies idling in your chat recording? Oh, yeah. Well, you know, it's funny. This entire all day long it says I've had 0 viewers. Look at your chat room user list. Oh yeah, it says I have Lurks, Moobot, and Nelson Doc. And only the chat box are listed in here. Like, none of the actual people are listed. None of, like, because yeah, so why can't I see any of the people that are in the broadcast? Don't out people. Don't out people. Oh my gosh. Be careful. Don't out people. If people want to lurk, let them lurk. If people want to lurk, let them lurk. I'm not trying to expose anyone. Yeah, but I would have had no... Yeah, Lurks is always in there. Moo Boot is in there. And I would have had no
experience. I would have had no idea any of those people were in here, which is, not such a bad thing. I mean, there are times where I want to know that they're viewers just so I can get a sense of whether, like, I turn on viewers just so I can know whether or not I was even live properly. Some of those people are definitely not bots. Some of those people are friends of mine that long preceded Twitch. So, yeah. No, Clackaboy75 and others are definitely not bots. Or if they are robots, then they are infiltration androids sent by the same aliens that created this game. Yeah, that's another thing. Oh, and a screen name, like, Twitch has a strong reputation of having really creative screen names, which can make it harder to tell whether or not someone's a bot or not. Often I find that, like, okay, I swear I've been through here already, but I'm gonna go through again because there are those two spots there, and then how did I get through to there over in that yellow area to the left of this zone? Okay. Oh, I just passed right through here. Okay. And inflationing. I can't believe I came up with inflation and a Bill Bernanke joke on the fly to make a cheesy 90s economic reference. But he was the chair of the Federal Reserve into the 2000s as well. So it's not strictly 90s. I'm so sure. Gotta waste enough air to get down here. Oh, there we go. Okay, so we're down here. What's this bottom one take us to? There's an area, I believe. There's somewhere that has yellow. Now, are they warps? Do all warps always take you to the same spot? Probably an IBM PS2 series or compatible computer, probably. Okay. This is where I wanted to be. I believe this is the last area where we have gems to collect. Okay. Yeah, this is the first area where there are gems to collect. Okay. Oh, the last area. Okay. So I have to go up and to the right, I guess. I think I've been here before because there were some gems down there, I believe. I just missed. Yeah, I missed coming up and around. And I know I can make it back to... These are the last blue gems in the stage. I gotta get back to that flag. Helios 2. I mean, a lot of the enduring mystery surrounding this game is the fact that no one's ever beaten Helios 2. Even hackers haven't beaten it. And there's some programmers who are starting to get to the point where they think that the Helios 2 may be unwinnable and may have no hit ending programmed into it. Helios 2 is basically the same as this with just a new set of levels. And all the levels are much harder. And there's music. There's like full-fledged recreations of classical music all through the PC's bell speaker. So it sounds horrible / amazing. I'm the kind of person who likes like old school bad MIDI files. Like the sound of them and the way I could easily revoice them. And I like chiptune music and stuff like that. I like chiptune music that more closely emulates like NES or Commodore 64. That more emulates actual melodies as opposed to... There's a certain subset of chiptune music that's more into rhythm-based stuff. for people to dance to or to rave to. That's not quite what I'm into. Most of the games I want to give attention to tend to be more old-fashioned style games. I mean, look, the only non-retro game I've ever played is Super Mario Bros. 35, which is basically just a port of an NES game, arguably. And it definitely has NES graphics and sound, so... I'm still on my first playthrough of Odyssey, which I'm about halfway through. Oh, this is going to be scary. No, I'm actually, like, I think 2/3 of the way through Odyssey. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, we got it. We got it. Habbo Hotel, that tracks system in game music. I don't think that was still around by the time, or I don't think that was implemented yet when I was playing it. Okay. It's getting a little... Well, I don't know. I'd love to know why they gave me a weapon in this stage, because I think we've explored everything. And there is no... There's no enemies. There are no enemies. I said there is no enemies. Talking like the doggone Maid and Tom and Jerry. But I won't get too deep into that. Yeah, that's a rabbit hole we're not going to go down today. Do you remember Coke Music 2002? No, but you saying that reminded me of... On the Cyberco website... Cyberco is a whole other thing. Stuart Ashton did a video about Cyberco. He'll basically explain it to you, but basically it was a PDA that was trying to be what a modern smartphone is, only through a short-range wireless communications only, but it was marketed to kids. And I had this thing. I was like the biggest nerd in school for having this thing. And I'm like, in the future, we're all going to have handheld computers like this. Everyone's like, no way. And now we all have smartphones. Well, most of us have smartphones. Please, please. Yes! Yes! Bingo! For the first time this is a first right now. For the first time in my life, I actually do want to take a screenshot of this. It is the little dots with the triangle. Little dots with the triangle. Okay. Okay. So we've got, for those who are just joining us, this, okay, we have that, and we have the dots with the triangle. So those are the first three. Yeah. Okay. Use my phone cam. So we've got... Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There are only 6 stages left. And for those who weren't here for the lore dump at the beginning, what this is as the title implies, this is basically one of the earliest games to have a fourth wall breaking meta narrative to it. And this game comes with this file, where it's the story about how this computer programmer was in his house at 3 a.m, and he had a close encounter where alien visitors came to his house, and this mysterious file containing what you see here was left on the computer. And you have to get all the blue gems in each of these stages. And by piloting this little balloon around. And so that's the first stage of symbol, which I found years and years ago. This is the second stage symbol. And for the first time in my life, we've got... And now the solution isn't readily available, but we've got now that stage. And so there's 6 stages left I have to find the symbols for. Now, as I complete more stages... I have a better chance of guessing the remaining symbols. But that's kind of cheap. Now, let's go real quick into... And hey, I only plan to play for another minute anyway, so perfect timing. Now, this stage is going to be tough... no. This is the first stage that has enemies in it. These are these little missile things. And now those there are keys. On the right, you see that red symbol? And then beneath where my ball is now, You see that? I have to collect that. And that'll make those objects disappear. So now we have this increasing complexity as we go in through these stages. With all these moving objects, this is the first stage that has enemies in it. Really proper enemies. We have obstacles that pop your ball. And we have weapons we could use to destroy these enemies. Now, I've never beat... I'm now further in this game than ever before. I doubt I'm ever going to... I mean, heck, I didn't think... I was questioning if I'd be able to get as far as I already have. Because these... Now, I'm playing sort of crazy mode right now, where I'm just crashing into stuff. See, look at... So we have basically a barrier to the left here of all this stuff. And at any time, I can exit back to... Actually, I'll show it when you take... See how small my ball is now? And this is the first key. There's the first key. So I'm going to have to collect... I got shot by that enemy bullet. But I don't know what any of these things are, because this is supposedly a game made by aliens, and the lore of the game, when he first booted up the game, this is what you saw, this weird thing right here. There's a video of Vinesauce actually discovering this game, not aware of the lore behind it, and he's kind of baffled by this thing here, like, what am I looking at? What is this supposed to be? It takes him like a couple of minutes to even figure out that this is a level select screen. And if I insert, I'm just proud to be able to do this, to get this far. Okay, level 1, level 2, and level 3. Now, if I match the rest of these symbols up, I will trigger the ending. And for those, if you watch any of the videos about this, you'll be exposed to the ending. If you want to go on this journey with me and see what the ending is, all I'll say is what the closest thing to an ending this game has to offer. And that ending, in combination with the creepypasta, the lore that this game was left by aliens, raises a lot of questions that have never been answered. And there's a sequel to this game that no one's ever beaten before, and even hackers haven't been able to find if this game is even completable or not, because it's very hard. So that will call the stream for now. 3 hours and 30 minutes, with another 10 minutes for my hold screen at the beginning. Not a bad stream. I've taken a break every hour pretty much. I've had no crazy symptoms, because I've had times where I've just sit down for a half hour at the same setup, and I feel like I've been sitting down for hours, and I can't feel my tongue, and I'm getting lightheaded. I'm like, okay, I sit at the same setup for all the other work I do. There's no reason I should feel like this. But I had a great time, but I do want to get on with my day and move on to other things. I did not think I'd get through... I don't have a Super Train Station H Discord. You're the first to actually ask me for that. If I make a Discord, it would probably mostly just be for alerts that I'm streaming or status things. I don't know if I quite have enough of a community to have a lot of conversation going on. But I'll make a Discord at least for a contact and alert purposes. So, like, if my stream goes down, people can fall back to there and know what's going on. I don't have it handy right now, my Discord. It's Super Train Station H. I don't know what the hashtag number and stuff is. For now, the best way to keep in touch with what's going on is Twitter, and yes, I don't tweet a whole lot, so if I tweet something major, like about, oh, I'll be doing this and that, it'll be easy to find. I usually have an image going with my announcement, so, but on the About page on Twitch, I'll be streaming this again for sure. Am I going to do an all-DOS stream next week? And I do have Pokemon Sword and Shield to get to as well. I didn't get far in that, and I want to kind of leverage the fact that I didn't get far in that, because depending on
if I move, I might need a comfy game to fall back on, and depending on, certain, upcoming world events, I may need something comfy to fall back on, and such and forth. Can I send you the... why don't you whisper me... Serial Walrus, why don't you whisper me an email address or something I can send that to? I can't say how soon I'll send it, but will I do a Commander Keen and Helios stream next week? Who knows? But I will be streaming next week. I don't know what I have planned or anything, but I will be back next week. I may wait for playing Pokemon for the reasons I would, yeah, that's what I was saying. Well, first off, I didn't want to expose your email address and have people sending you unsolicited stuff or anything. And plus, it would probably censor it out because I have a filter so that offshore casinos and stuff can't post links to, like, creepy Bitcoin gambling schemes or whatever. But yeah, if you whisper me your email, I'll send you something eventually with the current stuff in it. And we may even... But even with the problems I had, I'd say this worked pretty doggone well. And the main reason I haven't played this already is because of concerns. That's an email for this purpose. All right, I'm glad to hear that. But yeah, but definitely whisper it to me for now. Oh, at hotmail.com. I don't know. That sounds like a pretty steamy website that you're sending me a link to. I have a interesting story where I met someone who gave me a business card and I thought they just wanted to be friends. They had a very, he was an older gentleman. He had a very professional business card he wanted to send me with a professional email address. But then when he contacted me later, I think he wanted to be more than just friends. And his email address was like partyboy19, like 1959 at Hotmail or something. Yeah, I know how it's actually spelled. I was just being funny. All right, so we made it. We made it further in this game than I dare expect. We may even end up beating it. If not beating every level, at least figuring out the code through process of elimination after beating a couple more stages. So look on my about page on Twitch for info on what I'll be up to. Also on my Tumblr, tumblr.supertrainstation.com. Let's beat part 2. I don't think anyone on Earth... maybe literally so. I don't know if any... it may be possible that part 2 literally is just a troll and does not have an ending. But we'll see what happens. But thanks for joining me. I had a great stream of this. Much more interest and excitement in chat for this game than I anticipated. And so I'll see you next time, and thanks for watching.